am too. Oh, you guys can't even hear me saying hello. Oh my God. Oh, can you hear me now? I have to start again. All right, I'll start again. I expected you all to lip read. Okay, I'll update you guys on Jenny in a minute, and we'll just get the hellos out of the way. Stacey, hello, my sexy bitch. Glad you love my hair. They hadn't seen it till I came live. Only selected people had. Gracie's running late. She will be here though. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Palmy. Hi, Amber. Hi, Natalie. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Monica, you sexy woman, you. Hi, Rose. Hi, Tracy. I have to say, we were talking about that today, actually. We love the way diamonds, dreams, and coffee beans just rolls off your tongue. It's beautiful. Hi, Tessa. Hi, Liz. Hey, Ginge. Oh, thanks, Susie. Hello. I did it today. It was meant to be red, as in like red, and it came out orange, but I love it and I'm happy with it. And yeah, hiya, Trina. Thanks, guys. I felt like a change and I needed to redo it, and I kind of wanted to I've been blue since January, so January or February, so I was kind of wanting a change, and I just put this over top, which made the thing. And we've got Gracie knocking on the door in a minute. We'll bring her in. Oh, got ya.
Oops.
Hello, beautiful.
Oops.
Oh, hang on. Why have I got no sound? Hang on a minute. No, it's your end. Why have you got no sound? Why can't I hear you?
Oh, where have you gone? Hang on. You can't hear me?
I can't hear you. Thanks, Sarah. She's just trying to work out why she's got no sound. No, she's not muted. We'll try muting her and then we'll unmute her.
Hello. Hello.
Go back out. Come back.
I'll go out.
You can hear us both, so why can't I hear her?
Yeah, it's really just considering the host can't hear.
How come I can't hear Grace?
She wasn't muted.
No, she wasn't muted, but they could hear her, but I couldn't. So she
check your computer's sound's not turned off.
No, it's not turned off. Turn it on, turn it off. Oh, thank you, Natalie. She's coming back. Hi, Red. She'll be back. She's just gonna. So why? Oh, I know why. No, it was me. I know why. Grace, it was me. Oh, I'll just message her. I had her muted. I had my site muted. It was me. I had forgotten. I've changed to just like one cam, and I had muted the site. They could all hear you, but I couldn't. I'm sorry. I love you.
I changed my speaker though. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you nice, loud and clear. It wasn't you, it was me. You did get a hi, Gracie. I did say hi twice even. Okay. So before we start tonight's live, I'll just give you guys an update on Jenny. She is here. She's in the background. She's just not up to dealing with people today. Do you want me to show the photo? Okay. So we went and saw her mum for the first time today, and it was a very emotional time for her, as you can imagine. And we're going back on Monday, and Jenny might be extending her stay depending on how things go. But this is Jenny and her mum today. Sorry, it's not very clear. Trying to get it to focus. There we go. So she's very frail and she hasn't got long. But you never know with elderly people, it can be things. But it's been a very big shock for Jenny. And she's just It's very hard and very emotional time for her. So we just ask you guys, please, no business messages to Jenny. Please put them all through the page or through the email. Our customer support's picking them up. Right now, she just needs some time to start her grieving, because that starts now, as Gracie and I both know. It's a bit of a shock, and she's okay. She's got support here. She's got lots of love around her, and we're doing everything to keep her as distracted as possible, but also dealing with the emotions that come up as well, and being her family right now. So if you guys message her, please make it messages of love and support. If she doesn't respond, don't take it personally. She's just dealing with stuff. So, right. Oh.
Jen, you know I got you, girl.
So after we went to her mum's today, we went and did what all women do and did retail therapy. You'll notice I've got a nice light coming down on me now. I've got a nice ring light.
Oh my goodness.
More storage.
You bought more. I told you I've got for you. Why did you go spend coin? I've got some here.
Because is it the same system?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just trust me. I kid up as they come in. So I literally have like the whole idea of my storage of the system I've got coming in. As they come in, I kit them up, they sit on the shelf ready for me to do. I take the kit off, I take the canvas off, boom, it's done. So the more I have, the better.
I haven't said hello to everyone in chat, but I did hear you doing all the hellos, and that goes ditto for me too. Yes, I'm on live. I've got offspring number 2 looking at me awkwardly. I haven't even told offspring number 2 what's happening tonight, so just bear with me a second.
Yeah.
Rose is hosting an autism awareness event, and Rose invited me to speak tonight with Noah's permission. He was giving me the, what you doing, Mum?
Jordan
Very
gave
protective.
me the same look when I first met, but I can't get Kenzie's permission, so.
Fair enough. Yeah. So hello to everyone who's come. All the familiar faces. This is our tribe right here. Hi everyone. I'm not going to go through everyone's name. Do I need to shout out everyone's name?
No, just good love.
Because
Yes,
I'm
did
if I miss one. Go.
Oh,
This is yours.
I was just answering Kath. Yes, she did. She's had lots of Kenzie cuddles today, and lots of asking for chocolate.
Yeah, and then I get to cuddle her on Saturday. Are you hearing me, Jenny?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Oh yes, I've said to her there's going to be 2 rules: 1, have fun, and 2, no work talk whatsoever. That's my rules.
None. And I'm just telling you now. You 2 can work out who's going to be the piggy in the middle out of the 3 of us piggies in the middle in the bed, because I ain't taking the middle.
You're in the middle.
I don't want to. I know.
Do we want to show Grace what we got for Saturday?
Oh,
offspring number 2. I don't know who's going to be top and bottom, so it's no.
Oh, look, we'll probably sleep where we fall by the end of the night, to be fair.
To be fair, I think I agree with you. Wherever we land, there could be one of us on the couch, one of us halfway up the stairs, and one of us, goodness, on the landing. I mean, do you want to say hello to Rose and everyone in chat? Mate, offspring number 2 is going to poke his... No. He's coming in. The sneak. He's coming in. This is a serious...
Hello. How's it going?
Hey,
It's cold.
good, how are you?
He's got an hoodie on, yes. I want to say... Oh, add that to the one that I've got. That makes 3. That's 1 bottle each.
And there's also some Midori coming, and whatever else we can find in the meantime.
Jenny, we got you. We got you, girl. On the toilet, in the wherever, Kath, wherever we fall, it's going to
I am
be.
bringing. I am setting the theme, and I'm good at doing this. There will be music, karaoke, lives, and drinking games.
Oh, that reminds me. Offspring. Do you know where our Bluetooth player is? You know, when we were moving house, I had it in the garage, the black one. You haven't got it in your room?
I have a speaker that you can borrow.
Okay. All right. This is your live, Rose. Go for it. Oh, just take them. I'm not going to argue.
To everyone who's just come in, hello.
Hello.
We're planning on taking Jenny's mind off everything on Saturday. We're going around to Grace's. We're staying the night. We're getting really pumped up. And we're going to have a great time. And we will be live on either my channel or Grace's channel. So one or the other or both. You never know what's going to happen. Yeah, so we're planning on lots of fun. I haven't had a really, really good fun drinking night with singing and games and everything. So Grace is about to be introduced to how to drink Rose style. You ain't going anywhere.
Help!
It'll be
Who's
fun.
going to help me?
Who's
going to save me?
Hiya, Jane. So as you guys know, this month we're doing Autism Awareness Month. We're not doing it on the month because for people like Grace and I, autism awareness is all year round for us, and it's something that we try to get out there as much as possible. You guys have heard my story. You've got one more episode of mine. It's only going to be a brief one, and that's Rory's side. And you'll also get, that's tomorrow night, and you'll get to ask him any embarrassing questions because it's a late live. So yeah, there you go. That'll be fun for you all tomorrow night. But tonight is purely on Grace and hers and Noah's story, and I will give you the board and away you go.
Oh, thanks. So he found it, the Bluetooth. Yay, we got music. Okay. Can you put the heater off? Because I'm schwitzing here bad. Put the heater off, please. So thanks, everyone, and thanks for coming along and wanting to listen a bit about me. This is the first time I've actually gone into in-depth detail. It took me a very long time to even mention that I have one of my two offspring, the older one, who is on the spectrum. And that was not because of any shame or anything like that, but that's because he is able to voice an opinion about his life and everything like that. And out of respect, it's not my story. It's not my thing to tell. However, when Rose and I were speaking about this event and she asked me, what was my first question? I said, I have to ask Noah. And I sat down and I explained to him. And I've thought about what to talk about tonight. And it's more a case of him. It's about him, but more from a mother's perspective as well. And he's going to be 21 this year. So over the 21 years, how we've grown, how I've grown, and how our family's grown, and what we've learned, and how we cope with everything on a day-to-day. So brief background. There's a few key points that I wanted to touch on. And one was when we first had Noah diagnosed. I don't know how it is everywhere else across the world or even where you are, Rose. But here and back then, and I don't know even today if it's changed, you needed a 3-point diagnosis to pinpoint autism. Speech, pathology, psychology, and what's the third one?
Ours was pediatric. So we had to have the pediatric, and we had to have the speech, and we had to have the psychologist.
Pediatric was one, but there was another one again. Pediatric was kind of overseen, but all three had to arrive at that thing.
Occupational therapy?
Yes. Oh, yes. OT. Yes, thank you. Sorry, guys. I've been up since 5 o'clock, so I'm really exhausted right now. Pretty much, I always knew with Noah, he was hitting milestones and he stopped hitting milestones. And I always kind of, as a mum, no one knows your kids better than mum or dad. And no disparities against dads, but mums, we have that instinct. I'm convinced we have, you know. And I was watching him, and I was always getting told, you know, by others around, you know, oh, he's not doing the same as his cousin. You know, he's a girl and a couple of months older, and it was like, well, girls develop quicker and this and that and everything else. And it wasn't until it was pointed out by a family member who saw some signs, and as soon as it was brought to my attention, I knew straight away. I said, that makes sense. That's what it is. I went into a holy shit moment. I was like, what does this mean? What, you know, and all that thing. I probably shed tears one night, and then I went into automatic mode, which those of you that know me and have come to know me, especially over the last few weeks and everything, that's how I've always been. I just go into get shit done mode. We got I did all. Who was it that was talking? I think I heard some of Peter's story last night when he was saying you just, you know, went in and you started doing all the research, you got all the appointments done. Yeah, same. I was actually smiling when I was listening to Peter speak about you like that, Rose, because it's like, damn girl, we did same. It's like I had no time. I had no time to process anything. It was just like, right, what do I need to do to get this child any assistance, all the assistance where he needs to be? So here we've got something that I don't know that I've heard yet mentioned, and forgive me if it already has been, but here we've got something called early intervention.
We did something similar that was before her autism diagnosis. So that was because she was diagnosed with global learning real quickly, like in the first 6 months. And they introduced us to something, but it wasn't autism based, it was just general. So
yeah, same. Yeah, so early intervention. And if anyone in chat is either concerned or knows of someone, that's my opinion, the best thing that helped Noah in the early stages. Absolutely. It was early intervention. It was basically like a pre-kinder and then into kinder. He was then doing 2 kinders at the same time, mainstream kinder. I will never refer to, and I'm going to say this from the get-go. Don't mistake my passion from what I'm about to say with aggression, but I'm going to say this now from the get-go. I am so anti-labels that I will kick, scream, punch, everything. I don't do labels. There is no normal. There is no such thing as a normal school. We don't talk about normal school. We talk about mainstream, and I refer to other schools as schools for either students, like children or adults, that require additional needs. So I'll always say it's a school for kids with additional needs. There's no label. There's no they're autistic, they're Down syndrome, they're this, they're that. No, it's just they require additional needs. Simple as that. I can impart anything for the awareness of what we go, not what we go through, what we live, is don't stick us with labels.
Yeah.
No. So, yeah, he went to kinder and I just got through it. And I think a biggest lesson that I've learned, my mum, God love her, and this is nothing against my own mother, but she was the first one that brought to my attention the fact that you tell someone that you have a child on the spectrum, which is my dialogue. That's how I speak. That's how I speak about autism. The first words is, there was bawling and crying and the world is ending and I'm so sorry and I'm so sorry. It's like,
yeah, it's not the end of the world. Like,
what are you sorry for? What exactly are you apologizing for? What are you sorry for? he's still the same 2.5-year-old you knew 5 minutes before I told you this information. What's the sorry? What's the he hasn't got, touch wood, some terrible illness that's going to end his life early. This is not something that's life-threatening. This is still the same 2.5-year-old grandson you knew about 5 minutes ago. So that's probably the biggest confronting thing as a mum that I found. It's the whole pity thing. I don't do pity. I don't do pity.
I've had the same thing. I heard people say to me the same things. Just
it really, because to me it's it comes from it's forgivable once. I'll put it to you this way: it's forgivable once because I am always a person that likes to believe that people are not mean-spirited, and once educated, I would expect, and I do respectfully ask, not to be repeated again. But if it goes on to be repeated, then I get really arced up. It's like now you're just taking the piss out of me. It's.
I remember us talking about this together. Yeah. I remember we had this discussion together about the whole pity thing and how we're both the same. You get one chance. You say sorry once, and you get told don't do that. And then the second time you get bitch slapped. Yeah.
Pretty much. And I've had to do that throughout the course of just day-to-day life, people that have just repeated it to me. And it's like, I've asked you before, now I'm telling you, no, stop, or anything like that. Now, Noah's, and I always call it a spectrum because most people here in chat haven't been introduced to Kenzie, and there is Kenzie, there is, and it's a spectrum. It's not a negative or a positive thing. It's just an array of different, needs that each of these children and adults need, and challenges that they face. So that's why I love the word spectrum, because it's just not pinpointing one thing. We're all somewhere.
I look at it like a crystal prism. You hang a crystal prism up, and you get this, and you add the sunlight to it, and you get this burst of array of color that goes everywhere. That's autism,
right? Yeah. And what I've come to realize is that I always speak because I can't speak from your perspective, Rose, or anyone else's. This is me in my life, me as his mum, and everything. But what I've come to realize, and I love the fact that you've named the paintings Kenzie's World, because you know what? That's exactly what it is. People who are unaware of the life that someone on the spectrum may be leading, they think that they're missing out on something. And to me, that's their world. That's what they see. It's like saying, someone who wins Tats Lotto is happier than someone who doesn't win Tats Lotto. It's not that it's not. No, that's a really bad analogy. But I mean, I don't like. I check in with Noah all the time, and offspring number 2, don't I? Yeah, I check in all the time, and he in his own way, he will tell me how he's feeling on any given day. His communication skills are 100,000% up there, but that's Noah. I wouldn't change him. And people ask me, what would you change? And it was like, nothing. Nothing.
They would have
nothing.
been them if they changed them.
I shower more often, but I mean,
It's a boy thing.
It's a boy thing. It's like, you stink,
Yeah.
No, there's a difference between.
Sorry, my hair's caught in my clothes. I'm not driving me crazy. It's definitely
But,
a boy thing. Daughter went through it. It gets better.
No, it doesn't.
But I think that biggest thing, there's two biggest things being a mum with a son on the spectrum, and it's not what he's missing out on, but it's the gift that he's given, I think, to myself. And I'm going to speak for you too, buddy, over there, and to his brother. Yeah, I'm looking at you. I don't want to look at you because I'm going to make you cry. You're going to make me cry. I'm going to get down here.
What did I do? I'm so ugly. I'm going to make her cry.
That
Oh, that's a slappable offense.
the biggest gift that I think, and I've always been this natured anyway, but Noah's shown us, or me as his parent at least, the patience that I never thought that I would have, the understanding and the acceptance of all people, no matter what sort of background they have, what sort of challenges they face. And he's taught me how to overcome. And, you know, and I think both of my offsprings are blessings, both of them. I'm not saying that just because of the young tackers sitting over there. Both of them are. And he can attest to this one. I teach both of them, you are best brothers. There's only the two of you. And hence why my whole outro is always have each other's backs. You know, that comes from having my two kids, because that's what I say to them all the time, have each other's backs. And Noah doesn't get any special treatment. Noah does not get any special treatment. Growing up when they were a lot younger, it might have been different because, you know, Rose, you need to guide your children differently depending, and this goes with any family though. Anyone who's got more than one child, you know, you can't. Each child has got their own idiosyncrasies, their own ways of dealing with life. So what you and I did, I don't feel is any different.
Probably just on a bigger scale, I would say, like especially for me, because we had the extra stuff going on. That we had things on a bigger scale, so we had to adapt to that to make a difference. Yeah.
And to whatever scale is required, though, if one or both of them needed disciplining, that still happens, and it still happens, and and the only difference is I had to discern with Noah when was he, and not so much now because he's older, but when he was younger and probably less verbal, I had to discern, is he having a meltdown, like the typical, you know, meltdown that we talk about, or is he being just a total snot of a kid and just, you need to get your shit in line and you know, I'm just not going to tolerate it.
We get the tantrums, we get the meltdowns, and sometimes it's a very fine line.
Isn't it?
Yeah. And it's like, and I literally wait for it to see if it's going to escalate or whether she's going to self-settle, because that's one thing we've done. And like Jenny says, she says that, like, I'll sit there and I'll listen. And if she's like, you can tell by the noises she makes, because, you know, they start making noises, especially when they're non-verbal. And you're like, and I'm sitting there and I'm just listening. And then suddenly it's like, oh, no, I've got to go. That's escalating now. And it's a hug. Pressure hug. Yeah.
Yeah. So with Noah, you know, we had to do the whole, it was routine. It was routine. Anything outside of routine, he would lose it. We had, and all my friends and family, they were always astonished. Why were my kids always in bed and asleep by 7 o'clock on the dot every night?
Wait, that was on you? That's weird.
Yeah.
No, that was me, because your brother, and then of course because I don't play favorites, you, they needed to be in bed by that stage, and anything that swayed from routine sent him off. So
We have it took us about 7 years to get Kenzie's routine down to where it is now, where 6:30, she's in her room, the door is shut. She's allowed she's allowed her technology pretty much, as long as it's not keeping her up. But she's quiet now. So she's been in her room and the door shut since 7 o'clock tonight, and she's quiet. So hearing the odd giggle, but she's okay. So she's safe and she's happy and she's having her quiet down. She's got, we call it like her downtime. She's got to have that quiet time. So I understand that, like, you know, she doesn't always go to sleep at a decent hour.
yeah. Part and parcel. I have been ignoring chats severely. I'm so sorry, guys. Hey, Crafty Max. No, I didn't. Oh, if I did, I had forgotten. I didn't know that about your son. There you go. Hey, Michelle. I feel like if I start saying people's names and if I miss someone, it's going to hurt someone. But with the one thing that has never gone away for me and I think this is a fear for most parents anyway, but the biggest fear that I've always had is what's going to happen when I'm not around.
Yeah. I think it's a little bit more escalated for people like us, for parents like us. It's a lot more in depth. We have to have a written plan in place that can be followed for if something happens to us.
Yeah, that's my biggest fear. You know, and as Noel was growing up, you know, there were the fears of, is he ever going to finish school? Well, he went to a school with he never went to mainstream right through. He went and finished his year 12 and he did the biggest kick-ass speech at the graduation. They saved his till last. And oh my gosh, do you remember, Gabriel, his speech at school? I was bawling my eyes out. They saved his till last, and he was just, and we got so many he got so many compliments and handshakes and everything, but we had so many parents coming up to the table after, just astounded by his elocution and his wording. He did it all himself. So he did his year 12. So that was tick, you know, he in that school. I guess from my perspective, I never believed that a mainstream school would suit his needs. And I always felt that he would fall through the cracks, even with an integration aid. And I think you and I have spoken about this before. I mean, seriously, even this kiddo over here, like matrices and logarithms and sine, cos, tan, and all.
Don't bring me back.
All right. I'm giving him PTSD. All right. You know, I mean, most of us who went through and did that don't use it today. And so we elected to keep him in that school, and he flourished.
And that's amazing. That's important.
Yeah. If you're out there and you have a relative who's on the spectrum and you're deciding what sort of schooling, it's kind of not about, it's what's in their best interest, is my opinion on that. You know, they taught Noah social skills. They taught him that they would go once a week. They had a module where, for example, he'd come home and get the supermarket catalogue and he'd have to choose what he wanted to buy, and we'd give him the money from home, and I would take them to the supermarket and I would have to go locate those items in the supermarket and get the money and get the change and make social skills, like just basic living skills. That's what the kids need.
Yeah.
And and he's driving now. He's got himself a job.
I love that. Like, I've been. I mean, you've been in my life for 9 months now, and when I found out about Noah, yeah, we've given birth, baby. But like I said to you before, it was so refreshing for me to find someone who not only I respected but trusted and loved deeply, that had a child that was older than my child. So I know, like for me, that is something like therapists don't know everything, and the doctors don't know everything. And the only way you can learn stuff is to either talk to people who are on the spectrum who've been through it, or talk to the parents of someone who's older than your child and get the experience. So, for me, that's a valuable resource, which is kind of what this month is about, is bringing all those resources together and us hopefully helping somebody else out there and bringing awareness. And no, it's not a scary thing. Hard work, yes, but it's not scary. It is at the time when you first start.
And I noticed when speaking to the other mums, especially when Noah was at the early intervention centre, a lot of them were still in that place of the fear of the stigmatism and the embarrassment and everything like that. And I used to sit with him, I remember, and I used to say, look at so-and-so. He's now, because sometimes it can be a tactile thing that they're not able to grasp, or and like I could see their children making milestones, and I'd sit with the parents and I'd say, look at that. Was she or he able to do that 2 months ago? Look at them now. This is a proud moment, Noah didn't. His speech left, like he was babbling, like kids babble, and then he basically became mute till about 3.5. And it was about 3.5, 4 years old before I heard the words, "I love you, mama." So, and now he's that kid. You've seen offspring number 2 in action, but Noah, this one's 24/7 switched on and drops them. Noah will just come along and drop his pearls, and when he drops those little, they just grenade.
Having met Noah a couple of times, like
you have, yeah.
Both of your sons are beautiful boys, and they do you proud every day, and I know that. So yeah. So I've got the cough.
You cough. I had no one to help me with. My son had to fight for everything for him. Like, you had my mum to talk to the amount of tears I've cried fighting for him. And you know what? That's what we do, Max. We fight for them. We fight for them, and it doesn't matter on what level of needs they, and even if they don't have any needs, as mums, we fight for our kids. The pains that we took to carry them and give birth to them and all the rest of it, and the sore boobs in breastfeeding and all. Sister, I've been there.
Yeah.
We know our kids, I believe, better than anyone.
Yeah. In New Zealand, like, seriously, like, the fight is so bad. We had one government in shutting down special needs schools. We had cutting funding for things like incontinence, teacher aiding, speech therapy, occupational therapy, for anything to do with the special needs community. And we fought back. We didn't get it all back, but we got a lot of it back. But it was a fight. It was horrible. We had to. I was so angry. Yeah. I was quite verbal on my Facebook about it. I was very out there, because we have to fight. We have to use the tools that we have available. But that's nothing compared to the fight that the ones that have been before us have had, because we got what we got because they fought, and they got what they got because somebody else fought, and that's the way it goes. And so we fight in the next generation. Like,
yes,
Jane, if you don't mind me singling you out, love. Jane's the next generation of her boys coming through, and now she's able to benefit for what we fought for, and then what she's fighting for the next generation. And that's how we learn, and that's how we support each other, and that's how we keep going.
Yeah.
A couple of people have asked, Gracie, does Noah live alone?
No. Well, not yet. Will he ever choose to? I don't know. At the moment, both the offspring are living half here and half at their dad's. I'm separated from their dad. So very fortunate that they both, even at this age, want to spend a bit of time with each of us, which is good. But he doesn't live on his own yet. Will he ever choose to, want to, be able to? I always encourage both of them. You can do anything you put your mind to. And I say that equally to both of them. They can put whatever they want to do within, go for it. You're your own worst, what do you call it? Not enemy, but
barrier.
Barrier. Yeah.
Mm.
And that kid, you know, he shocked me even this year. He had a qualification. He got himself a qualification in an industry that I thought he would take years to get into, and he cracked into the industry, and that's what he's working in now. So, but he doesn't live on his own yet. I don't think either of them, to be honest, are equipped yet. When this one can start picking up his dirty jocks and socks off the, off the ground, then he's got my blessing to go. Yeah, don't look at me with those eyeballs. I think
if Jordan could have done his art degree in the same town as me, he would not have left home when he did. But because he wants to do animation and he wants to do gaming design, the only way he could do that was to leave home. He had no choice. So I think that's the only reason why he left home. One of our girls has recently only just left home again, and the other one is in New Zealand, is living in a house that we still have rental rights in with my sister Glenda. So so technically they still live at home. So,
Yeah.
We're mums. Like Brady came home so many times I lost count. So
that's it. It's it. Look, I vividly, and I will openly admit this, I vividly remember arguing with my mum and dad at the time when I was their age. It's like, oh, I'm leaving home. I can do this. My dad just said, go. We'll see how long you last out there. Yeah. And
I left home at 18, not under good circumstances. And I remember the last thing I said as I walked out the door, I'm never going to live with you again. And I can honestly say, because I'm a stubborn bitch, I have never moved home.
I couldn't do it again now.
No.
Yeah, no. I couldn't do it now. Yeah, absolutely.
Don't get me wrong. If the option was bring my mum here or put her in a home, it would be bring her here, because I would rather her be here with me and with someone who loves her than stuck in a home. But that's because mum's mum, and if I didn't step up, none of the others will. So, it depends on the situation for each person.
Yeah, I get that. I had to support my son yesterday after his interview, and they asked him a lot of personal questions about his past. Jamie said, and there was a lot for him to deal with. Shelter under review. Are you in the process of appointments towards a diagnosis, Sarah? Or so that's the thing. Not everyone who presents with A, B, C, D, E is automatically on the spectrum. And the only reason that I was so adamant and wanting to get you could either wait 2 years here on the public system for a diagnosis, or you had to pay and go private. And I had said to his father at the time, I don't care where we have to get this money from. I said, we are going to get this done sooner rather than later, because the research that I had done in that short amount of time was the quicker you can get early intervention, the better. And so that's why, we paid, I think, nearly $2,000, I think it was. We're out of pocket. I didn't care. It was like, we made it. We made it happen. But not everyone, and I said to his father at the time, I said, whether it is or it isn't, it's not about getting that label. It's not about getting that diagnosis. It's about, if it's not this, then let's look at what else it could be, and what and how do we get him any further assistance if he needs it, because yeah.
Hi, Sarah. I should actually put my glasses on to read that. That's why I wear my glasses on here, because I can't read shit.
Gets his results on Thursday. So proud of my son. He's now fully qualified bricklayer, and he just needs to pass a health and safety test, and he'll be working.
That's fantastic. Awesome. So we had to get Kenzie reassessed here when we moved here. And it didn't cost us anything, which we were expecting it to. But because we had Medicare, they stepped up and they covered the cost of what needed to be done to make sure she qualified to be in a special school. In New Zealand, there's no IQ test, where over here there was, and she had to be under 17. She was 69.
Correct.
Yeah, and it was like, oh my God. She literally, I was panicking, and I remember talking to Jane about it. I was panicking because I was like, what if she's more?
My daughter was like that when my grandson, when my grandson's in special school, he had to be, he had to go through the IQ test, and she was so scared that he was going to be over
70, yeah.
And I think his was 66, something like that.
I was nervous as how. So that for me was the first taste of the system here. I was petrified. I was absolutely shit. There's no way Kenzie will cope in a mainstream school. She has to be in the school she's in, because she just would not cope. They're not going to change her diaper when it needs changing. They're not going to sit there and make sure she doesn't run off.
No.
It would have been homeschool all the way. Like, seriously, that was my backup thing.
Yeah. No, it's that's the scary time. That's the most scariest time, I believe. Because
the rest of it you just get on with.
The rest of it you get on with. The schooling, the socialization, they're the formative years when they're so young, and that's why it's so terrifying, because you're handing over your child, which they are, they're child with that point, to strangers in their care, and we as mums know all their idiosyncrasies. We know which pitch means which cry, all of that sort of thing. What worked well with Noah were the PEX cards.
We use those too. Yeah.
So we had them on the fridge, and in order to help him with his speech back then, we had that in play, and he went to speech pathology. He went to a lot of speech pathology. It was a lot of work, but it wasn't work. It was just, we got shit done. We just got shit done. You just do it, and that's why, your story, even though we've got parallels and similarities and understandings and empathy, everyone's different, and no doctor, no professor, no person can write any textbook that is going to write my son's story, and they're not going to write Kenzie's story.
Yeah.
Like
I said the other day, when you've met, and I had it running across the bottom, when you've met one child or one person with autism, you've met one child or one person with autism. That's it, because they're all different. Noah is different to Kenzie. Kenzie's different to my grandson Brandon, who's also on the spectrum. Jane's boys are different again. Sarah's son's different again. Max's son's different. Jean's grandson's different. We all got a story. They've all got a story, and that's what this is all about. This month is getting the story so people can get a general feel of what it actually is all about.
Yeah, and it's not about and that's my biggest message out there is, as parents, and especially for those that are like, whether Kenzie comprehends it or not, and I think in her own way she would, she doesn't need someone's pity.
No.
Noah doesn't need someone's pity. What they need is just understanding and acceptance. That's it. Just understanding and acceptance. That's my message out of all of this is they're just living their best life in the way that they are able to and that they do.
Being the best versions of them.
That's it. Why? Yeah. So, if you're in the supermarket and you're seeing a mum struggle with their young one, or maybe I'm not saying they're automatically on this.
Oh no, I
No.
reach out. I do. I reach out. Like, I've done it. There's been a child having major meltdown in a supermarket, and Kenzie was about 8 at the time, I think. And I said to them, I went up to the mum and I said to her, "Can I help?" Because there was all these old ladies bitching and this mum was in tears. She'd literally just got the diagnosis for her son the day before. And she had no idea what to do, no idea how to deal with anything yet, because she didn't have the tools provided. And these old women were sitting there going, yeah. Well, you can imagine me. I spun around. When she told me that, I spun around and I blew these 3 old ladies up, and I gave them what for. The whole supermarket heard me. This mum sitting there going, "Oh, thank God." And then I turned around and I said to her, "Is he allowed lollipops?" And she goes, "Yes." I said, "I'll be right back," because it was in my supermarket and I'd had that system in place with Kenzie. I knew they'd do it again. I literally paid for 100 lollipops and told them who it was for, got one from him, gave it to them, and told her how I did it for Kenzie. Now, I saw her 4 years later in the same supermarket with her son. He was holding her hand. He was walking around the supermarket, and I didn't recognize her. She recognized me. She comes running up to me and she gives me a big hug, and I clicked to who it was. And I burst into tears when I saw what I saw, and she said, "Thank you." Because one mum who's been through it stood up and helped another mum. And that's what we need to do more of in this world.
100%. 100%.
Jane, don't listen to the teachers. Follow your instinct. I'm going to tell you that right now. We had that said to us, and if we hadn't done that, I do believe that Kenzie wouldn't be saying the words that she says. And trust me, that kid talks more to herself in her room and perfect conversation than she does to us. She chooses not to. And non-verbal, sometimes that's what that means. They can be verbal one day, non-verbal the next. And it's not necessarily means they can't talk. It just means they physically are unable to at certain times.
And the frustrations and the meltdowns that if you see this happening and you're out and about, and I'm speaking to like people in chat who maybe they've not had anyone in their direct line or life to interact with, but a tantrum comes about because there is it could be a number of things. Okay, it could be the absolute frustration of not being able to communicate what they are wanting. We're expecting a speech communication. They, for whatever reason, that's not their way of communicating, and they want to move. They want a glass of water, or they want to move this toy from there to there, but they don't know how to tell you that, and that's where the frustration just overrides their neurons, and they melt down. The other thing too. Was it you that I was telling? I can't remember. Rose, when Noah was much younger, he couldn't handle butterflies fluttering around. And he would freak, and he knew that he quickly learned as a young child that if he saw a butterfly or a moth on the wall, that thing could take off, and and he would freak. He would freak the F out. Like, he would totally, now he's fine, but it's sensory. It's sensory. So just a bit of understanding. I think
sensory trigger is different. Like with Kenzie, it's noise and music. Yet she's the noisiest and plays the best music. So unless it's the line song. But yeah. Or bright lights can set them off, or a smell, or like a movement, or it just varies once again from child to child and adult to adult. So
no, if that bottle gets offspring number 2, it's a school night. That's 1, and 2, that's for me, Jenny, and Rose on Saturday.
3
Put
bottles.
It back. Yeah, 3 bottles, and there's more to come. Put it back. Oh, you should see Rose. Do you want me to turn this around and put you on camera? Because Rose is like, she's got you. And I know that even though I can't see Jenny, she's doing it through the screen too.
Touch the alcohol.
We've got
Who
plans for
remembers
that.
that? Who remembers? Do you remember? You've seen Shrek.
Yes.
Do you remember the scene where the birds are singing on the tree and they blow up until the point where they explode?
Yeah.
Do you remember that? So when he was young, he couldn't handle balloons either. He couldn't handle that, when you rub a balloon, you get the squeak sound and then the pop of the balloon. He watched Shrek back to front, inside out. Shrek was like 24/7 for him. He knew that movie inside out, upside down, back to front, and every which way. That scene there, he knew when it was coming up, and he would run out of the room, right? And he would poke, like, say this is the wall. He'd be doing this around the wall like this, waiting
Yeah.
for those birds to explode. Yeah.
Yeah. Kenzie will, like, she doesn't watch a whole movie. Like, she'll watch Madagascar to a point, and then she'll go. She's done. Toy Story, I think, was the first time I actually saw her watch a whole movie, and that was that wasn't. Yeah, that was last year. And then she decided she wanted Buzz Lightyear for her birthday. Okay, so last year. And then Dory, Finding Nemo was that one. But she won't watch the first bit when the mum gets eaten by the barracuda. She can't watch that bit. But once that bit's over, she'll come back in. Yeah.
Yeah, and hence why it's her world, and there's still perception. It's her perception. It's her interpretation. Absolutely.
I think the biggest thing for us is we learn very quickly that our milestones are different, our cues are different for our children, and we have to respond differently. And I think those are the three things. We have to learn, and we have to find their cues, and it's listening to them and finding out what makes them rock it off, or what, like Kenzie had, she was a take you to the cupboard when she wanted food. Then we introduced pet cards, and then we had the speech, like it was she learned really quickly. If she wanted food, she had to talk. So she learned really quickly. And even to this point, and then when we started saying no to that, occasionally the kiss came in. They work around things, but it's listening to their cues and listening to know them, and that happens as they grow, and it develops naturally, I think.
100%. 100%. Does he do any chores, and can he? Yeah. So he's you know what? He's a boy. I got two boys, and I don't make distinction. I had said to their father at the time, before we started having children, I said, regardless if we have boys or girls, I said, boys will be taught to clean house, cook, and all of that. And you can take them fishing and do whatever the boy things are, the stereotypical. I said, and same with the girls. They will cook, they will clean, and you can still take them all fishing and this and that. They're getting better at cleaning, both of them, Tessa, I must admit. And, hey, you got to admit, your brother makes a kick-ass hamburger, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It takes time. Like, I know, because like Kenzie makes her own Milo now. She, when I had COVID, she put her own chicken nuggets on. And it was kind of interesting to see, because I got sick and I couldn't do things as quickly as she wanted it. She developed a little bit of independence over that time. And so it gave me a little bit more hope. I mean, I've always got hope, but it gave me that little bit more hope that there is enough in, like, I don't mean that to say, oh, Kenzie's got other things going on as well as just autism. So I don't know how she's going to grow to be, and we're just winging this. But it gave me that hope,
There's something in there.
Absolutely.
She's smart cooking.
Oh yeah,
she's smart, and I know.
Tonight with the cupcakes.
Yeah, we came down. Can I share a story? Do you mind if I share a story? I know. It's just, this is your story, but this is a quick, funny one. After the day was on. So we brought Jenny bought 4 cupcakes for Kinsey for like snacks after school and one to go in a lunchbox. We came down to the studio, you know where my kitchen is. We went back up there, didn't notice that she'd been in the fridge, taken the other 3 cupcakes out, run off with them, and we found the rest of them in her, like she'd licked all the icing off and eaten all the icing off. And yeah, and then she was done. She ate 1 whole cupcake, but then she just wanted the icing off the others. So now she's
go Kenzie, that's my girl. That's my goddaughter right there, licking the icing and licking.
She left the cupcake box in the fridge.
She left the box in the fridge. The fridge had been reshut. We had no idea she'd been in there until we
didn't hear her.
Didn't hear her. I was, we were getting dinner ready because we had smoked chicken and bacon macaroni cheese tonight, and I was doing it from scratch. Jenny went to get the cheese out of the fridge, and there was like this empty box of cupcakes. No cupcakes, just the box. Yeah.
Bless.
She takes after Auntie Gracie with the icing. Yes.
What was that?
She takes after Gracie with the icing.
If it wasn't for the fact that I'd blow out I would probably make icing and just, especially cream cheese.
I don't like, if I knew my secret, I'd tell you, but I've lost 16 kilos in 9 months. I'm happy.
Leave it at that. I'm glad you're learning a lot, Jane. And this is just my day-to-day. I didn't write anything down. I had thought, do I make some notes? I thought, you know what, I'm just going to wing it, and however and whatever comes out. And
Jane said, Jenny said that's why we wanted to do these lives, was to help somebody out there and to learn stuff and share our stories, because we're, you know, I know for someone who's just starting out, like to you, you to me is like a veteran. You're like that little bit further ahead than I am, where that's me to somebody else. And, you know, bringing the stories together is, you know, sharing it and hopefully giving people hope and breaking the stigmas and breaking the fear and realizing we've survived it. We've survived it. I mean, Noah's 21.
Absolutely.
Our journey's not finished, but we've survived it to this point.
But also looking at Sarah, it's not so. It needs to take the scariness out of it. Someone having a late diagnosis. It's still not as bad as what you think it is, even at a late diagnosis. Yeah, and like the diagnosis is there to help you get your child, whether they're a young child or whether they're 38, as in the case of Sarah's son. It's a case of getting them the support that they need. It doesn't matter when they get it, as long as they're getting it. And that's all the diagnosis is good for, guys. It is, but people make it, oh, my child's got autism. Oh, no, you know, but you know, we were the same. I was the same. I was in denial. You guys heard me say that with Kenzie, because girls represent different to boys. And there is a big difference. I had no idea. And I was like, no, it's just because you know, she's got something else going on there. No, she's definitely got autism. There's no mistaking that. But, you know, you can be in denial, but don't live there. Don't, you know, like you did. I grieved for a day, maybe 2, and then I got on with it. And I did what I needed to do. Because what else is there to do? Wallow in self-pity or make my child be the best version of themselves?
Yeah. The only thing that in that first 24 hours is because he was our firstborn, he's our firstborn. You go through pregnancy, you go through birth, you go through infancy, and that whole, from the minute that you find out that you're pregnant to everything, you start having these thoughts as a first-time mum of all the aspirations and dreams, and what are they going to look like? What are they going to do in their lives? What are they going, you know, who are they going to meet? What are they going to grow up to be like? Or what are they going to do for work? Who are their friends? All these million neurons are zapping away in that whole first 18 months. And as soon as the diagnosis came, that was the biggest thing for me, was that all that just went like that. And it's not that it went, it just became a massive question mark. It's not like, what is it going to be? It's like, is it going to be? And that was the biggest thing for me to deal with. And then it was like, well, stop selling him short. Don't sell him short in what he's going to achieve in life. Get shit done. Get the help that he needs. And let's see. And then it was like an uncharted. All first-time parenting is uncharted. We all know that, right? Doesn't matter. It's all uncharted. People can give you 50 million textbooks. Our own parents can talk to us about giving us advice. Our friends give us advice. But until you walk the walk and you're in that moment, it's all uncharted. But when you don't have that, you know, when is that next milestone going to happen, turns into a, is it going to happen? That's when it throws. But I learned very quickly, it's like, stop selling him short, because like we were talking earlier, Rose, it's, and I think I said this to you, I've been saying that a lot tonight, but I said it because you and I talk a lot, that I know myself, there were a few things for him that I thought were not going to be achieved. And I kicked myself, and I will admit it, and I've admitted it to him first and foremost, because I owed him that first before, and love you guys in here, but before you, I owed him that apology for underestimating. And it could have been the smallest thing, but it's like, I underestimated that you know, were ever going to be able to do A, B, C, D, and when he did it and he kicked ass doing it, I felt like a piece of shit, to be honest, for doubting his abilities. So always, and that's again, when I said at the start, both my offspring have taught me lessons in life as a parent. As parents, we teach them everything. It's amazing what our kids teach us, and they don't need to be on the spectrum to teach us. This one over here is on the couch over there. He's taught me a lot. A lot.
It's the same with Jordan. He's, you know, Jordan was my first surviving born, and he taught me a lot. Bridie taught me so much. Like, I had this kid come into my life at 16. I was only 7 years older than her. I adopted her. I wasn't even that much of a patient mum with Jordan. It wasn't until we went through everything we went through and I started to change as a parent. And you know, things never go the way you plan them to, ever. Not even with normal kids. And I say normal, guys. Okay, so children without any special circumstances, it never goes the way you plan it, ever.
No. And I think the biggest testament to is
Actually,
oh, yeah, I saw that.
what was that?
did you get the tail? Did you?
Sorry, she's talking to Cola. She's talking to Cola.
Cola. I have an ADHD
Jenny's talking
kid,
to
so I
Cola.
feel,
Yeah.
but always feel blessed to have him. Absolutely, Carol. Absolutely. You know, ADHD, ADD.
Tessa's asked what signs or things did you see?
You've frozen on me. Oh, there you are.
Tessa wants to know, what signs or things did you see when Noah was young?
So when he was young and before we knew, we used to have the lounge room, and we had it. When I say gated up, it was like a massive playpen. So we put barriers against the two doors, and he had the reign of the lounge room, that kid. And he was fascinated. There were two things that, as a mum, I thought spectacularly wonderful but weird at the same time. And I'll explain to you what I mean. He used to line up his toys, which I then learned was one of the telltale signs. But I would walk past the lounge room and watch him play, and I tell you, they were precision lined up, like literally, and in a specific order. He had the Thomas the Tank Engine magnetic trains, and they had to be all lined up, and they had to be lined up. So he had, I can't remember now, but he had a specific order. He had his trains, and he had another set of toys that were all lined up, and then because, you know, to challenge him and just to play with him and whatever, I'd wait till he turned around or whatever, and I'd move something out of kilter. Yeah.
Been there, done that one.
I paid for it. Like I thought this sounds really mean. I kind of was laughing, but it was like freaking me out that he was freaking out way much. Like it was like really like tantrum just by moving something ever so slightly. So lining things up was one of the first signs. His speech went. It dissipated, like he's babbling, like he was babbling, and then he just basically, my ex and I found an old video. I don't know where we found it. It was on one of the things, and it was of him in the playpen, and we were both calling to him, and it would have been at an age where he should have been responding in some, but he was just looking at us blankly. And then another thing was, in answer to that question, he used to walk on his toes. So he had sensory.
Yeah.
He had sensory issues. Yeah. So, did you put that heater off?
Did he stop making eye contact? Like, you know, because like when they're little, and I know with Kenzie, she loves like she would hold your face and stare it into your eyes and give you, like, she would like put her nose on your nose and look deeply into your eyes, and then it suddenly, for us, it just stopped. Like at around 18, 20 months, the whole thing just stopped.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm going to go turn this heater off because clearly offspring number 2 doesn't know how to do it, and I am melting here. So
No, I turned it back on because I'm frozen.
You turn it back on because you're frozen. Kiddo.
Blanket.
Can you check this kid out?
Next time you're freezing,
It's not freezing though. Are you running a temperature?
Feel my nose.
Feel your nose. You snot a man, there'll be trouble. Yeah, your nose is cold. Here, just cover your nose and you'll be fine. Goodo. But loss of eye contact, and then he regained it eventually. But that was a lot of it came with the speech therapy as well. We did that came part and parcel with that. And just persist, you know, if you're fighting the system in order to get help, don't give up. There is always, in my opinion, I mean, I don't know what it's like internationally, but if there's anyone here in Australia who's struggling and things like that, don't give up. There's a lot of not-for-profit organisations that offer respite. If you have a child who is high dependency and you need respite, there are places that offer respite. There are places that will offer financial assistance. You can be guided by organisations for schooling, for education, all that sort of thing. And then, of course, we've got the National Disability Incentive. Is it Incentive Scheme, NDIS? And I'm talking for Australia here.
Yeah, because we don't qualify for that. Oh, saying that, I'm in the process of possibly having that approved.
NDIS?
I've got forms to fill out. I've got to do this week and send them back. So fingers crossed that the paediatrician and Royal Children's Royal Children's Hospital are fighting on our behalf.
Yeah. So I don't know what resources are like overseas, and I've ignored so many people. Christopher's here, Jane, and just there's a new name to me. To me, Diamond Crafter Bubbly me or Mel? Mel?
Mel.
Hey. Yeah,
hello,
so Charlie.
I don't know who Charlie is. He's a new name on my thing, but Charlie,
Oh, Charlie.
just call it work wife.
Ah, work wifey. There's my work wifey. Are you serious? I know who that is. No, it's not her. I'm not gonna call. Yeah, it's so I won't like to keep their anonymity because I can't say that word properly.
Anonymity.
What is it?
Yeah, what Jenny said.
Anonymity.
That one.
Yeah, that one.
So I have my, as you know, my YouTube sister wives, and this is my actual physical at work wife. We're married, kind of metaphorically, physically, and spiritually. So,
Nice to meet you, Charlie. I'm the one who's cheating on you with.
You're what?
I'm the one you're cheating on her with.
Yeah. Well, I've invited my work wife over. We're going to have a Friday night, like, you know how we're doing Saturday night? Her and I were having a Friday night, one night.
Nice.
Yes,
Oh,
definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, there you go. Beautiful. So any questions? I don't know. Ask away. I don't know. I've just been blabbering. Unfortunately, here in South Carolina, the special go to schools in special class and sometimes regular classes as well. Do they get extra assistance, Wilma? Do they have, we call them integration aids here, where either funded by the school or independently by the parents, a student can have an integration aid, which is a one-on-one. And that's the thing.
We've not been offered that because she's never going to be integrated into mainstream, so it's not something that's going to ever be offered to us.
So she goes to a school for kids with additional needs, right? Yeah, and that's exactly that's what she needs. That's it. You don't want her in a mainstream school. I don't even know the capital of some countries, and I went to a mainstream school. For the love of all that's holy, seriously. I mean, like, history.
We pull up at the bus. She's at, like, once the bus arrives, she's out the car. She runs to the bus, and she comes home, and she's bouncing because she's had a great day. And the support's great. They give me, send me photos every day. I get updates every day. If there's a problem, the teacher rings me directly and talks to me. The teacher rang me for a parent-teacher conference. We were on the phone for 3.5 hours because we ended up we've got so much in common. We ended up talking about everything. So it's they work with us, not at us, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So is there different levels of it, like some people more? So levels is one way to, I'll give my interpretation and let's see if we come together on this one or if you've got a different way of feeling or thinking about it. Levels is one way to maybe think about it, Natalie, and the other would be, I still come back to that spectrum thing because not everyone who's got a level 3 or a level 1 or a particular level is going to have all the challenges the same as someone else on that same level. So that's why I go back to that whole spectrum thing, because it's a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and it makes up that individual. So, for example, my son who had the sensory didn't walked on his toes until, early teens, may have had everything else the same as another child at the same age, but that other child may not have had that sensory thing. So it's kind of like, I don't know. I know you talk about levels. Yes, Rose?
Yeah, so when they give you a diagnosis now, it's level 1, 2, or 3, or I call it, you have high needs and you have low needs. So, and low needs normally means that a parent's put in a hell of a lot of bloody work to get that child to low needs. Kenzie's high needs to medium. So she's started off extremely high needs and she's come down to sort of like a medium, where she still needs assistance for most things, but not everything. I see this as like, I'm like you, I see the spectrum, but I come back to the prism of light. So if you look, when you hang a crystal up where the sun hits it, the direct, it's the heaviest color. And as you come out from that, the color gets lighter and lighter. It doesn't dissipate. It's just there, and it's just less of a strength. And that's how I see it. Some children, because it's a chromosome mutation that causes autism. It's definitely not injections, and I can prove that from experience. Not scientifically, but just from my experience. But there is in New Zealand, a lot of doctors, and Kenzie was part of this study, and she's got it. There's a chromosome defect, which is caused by a mutation that affects the sensory issues of an autistic child. So when no chromosome defect is exactly the same. Like I'm in a 4P group for Kenzie. There's only 150 people in the whole world who have the exact same chromosome defect as Kenzie. Yet for the 4P, there's thousands. So that's a good example. 150, over 1,000 of them. They all have similar traits, but only 150 of them would be very similar to Kenzie. It's the same thing with autism. The chromosome has mutated differently in every child because it comes into factors like environment, and like DNA, like your genetic makeup and your environmental factors. So that's what causes mutation. It changes from child to child. Whatever Noah's, I'm just assuming here, I don't know if he has got it or not, but if Noah had the mutations, his mutations would be similar but different to Kenzie's. And probably completely, and some will be completely different. It just varies. And there's no final reason. There's nothing that a mother does or a father does or nothing that you put into your body that's caused it. It's just one of those things that happen. And that 4P11 helped me come to terms with that. It took a few years. Yeah. But Kenzie being diagnosed with a distinctive genetic disorder that we had no way of knowing. Jordan was born healthy. We had no way of doing it. And here comes our second baby. We had no idea. Our first one was perfectly normal. We expected the second one to be perfectly normal, and she wasn't. And it was what we were given. We love her just as much as we love Jordan, and we've just learned to get on with it.
That's it. That's it.
I am not an anti-vaxxer. I am an anti telling someone they have to vaccinate their children. Okay, so let me explain that. I chose to delay Jordan's. Kenzie had a couple. She reacted. We stopped them because she was allergic to them and she was going into anaphylaxis with every shot. So now her last ones were done last year. She went into hospital. She was done under sedation and they monitored her for 4 hours. End of this month, we're doing the same thing again. Kenzie goes into hospital. She'll be sedated on the 31st of May. She'll be monitored for 4 to 6 hours afterwards. So that's how we do it. We have to do it that way. It's just one of those things.
Sedate her for the vaccination. Oh la ma.
She freaks out too much. And it's always stressing her. They squirt nitro something up her nose. Can't remember. It's nitro something. They squirt up her nose. And she's wide awake. Yeah, relaxes her. She literally sits there and they go 1, 2, 3, both arms done, boom, finished. We wait 4 hours. I'll take a book with me. I'm reading Outlander series. I'll take that with me. Take your favorite foods.
Rose takes a deep.
Take my phone with me. Do some work. It used to be mild, moderate, and extreme, Jane, but they're trying to, and the older autism community are trying to change the wording because low functioning and high functioning and Asperger comes from a Nazi doctor, so that one's completely going out the window. Like people are wiping that one completely. But high functioning and low functioning, Kenzie's quite functioning, but she'd be classed as a low functioning because there's lots that she can do on her own that she does. I mean, you've been in my house, you've seen her, she does things, she's very, very independent in many things. But so we're trying to change it to high needs and low needs. And once again, it's a spectrum. Sometimes Kenzie's got a high needs day, sometimes she has a low needs day. This afternoon was a low needs day. All she needed was her food provided for her. She's been cruising all day, she's doing her own thing all afternoon, she's been having a great time. She had a medication, she gave kisses and cuddles when she felt like it, and she's now tucked up in bed. That's a low function, that's a low needs day for us. But for most people, that's a high functioning thing. So, and then tomorrow it might be completely different. She might have had a bad day at school, she's going to come home in a bad mood, she's going to need lots of cuddles, lots of attention, lots of interaction, because she's going to need those deep hugs that she likes. And that's the way and then once again, that's a high need day. So it just changes from day to day.
Let me just say, her godmother comes home from a hard day at work and has a shitty attitude and wants cuddles and wants to be held and all that stuff. So, you know what, sister? I get it. You know,
sometimes I'll give you cuddles on that day.
But it's a misnomer that autism is a direct correlation to intelligence, and that's another thing. You know, it's what we define or what we perceive as society to be intelligent is what we are conditioned to think of as being intelligent. Let me tell you, Noah took him maybe watching over his father's shoulder 4 or 5 times without him knowing at the age of about 3, and he cracked the password on his father's computer just simply by watching at 3. And it was a complicated password, but he just, you know, knew it and everything. And he was gaming and and he still kicks my ass on Mario Kart. You know, he's got,
I get it.
you know, and even the tennis one. What was the tennis one we used to play? The
Wii Fit.
The Wii tennis. That kid used to ace my ass every time.
Kenzie's, it was the kickboxing one. She still watches it on YouTube to this day. She would be something going, because I used to do yoga with the Wii Fit, and I lost 40 kilos just doing the yoga on the Wii Fit.
Oh,
she loved
really?
It. I'd be sitting there doing whatever, and she'd be standing there, and she was only 2 at the time, imitating me doing it. So and bowling, she loved the bowling, and the running one, because I'd go for a run on thing, and because I was very conscious of being so big, and I would be running, and she'd be alongside me doing exactly the same thing. I'd pull an expression, she'd pull an expression. That's a bonding moment. It was awesome. I loved it.
Yeah.
So we had the same.
But what I would love to do,
she kicks my ass. I can't. My ass at the video games as well.
You're lagging, and I can't tell if we're talking over each other. I don't want to be rude. I don't know.
You're right.
I keep hitting my glasses. What I would love to challenge everyone in, I don't know how many, I can't see, how many people have you got here?
$25.
25. So I would love
25
for
in the top
each.
corner, so 25.
So there's 25 sets of eyeballs, or at least if not eyeballs, we've got at least 25 sets of ears listening. What I'd love to do is challenge everyone to just open up the conversation with someone that's maybe not in the diamond painting community, in your personal life, someone who's, whether, you're sitting next to them on the bus and you're confident enough to open up a conversation, or a friend or a family that you've never had a conversation about autism about, and just open up the conversation, spread the word, because we're all in here, we're talking. And I've noticed some of the chat, and you know, guys, normally I'm onto it, but I've been just trying to zone in on what I'm saying. But it's all about awareness, and I think if we can have that butterfly effect, and each person goes away from tonight and speaks to 2 other people and gives those 2 other people a challenge to, hey, you know, did you know that this is happening, you know, next month, Autism Awareness? Do you know much about it? Love for you, you know, if you're interested. Do you know anyone who is either directly or indirectly affected? Do you want to come and join what I'm doing? All of that sort of thing, because that's how the word gets out. And case in point, and without going into too much detail, because, you know, I'm one to protect privacy, I opened up the conversation today with somebody, and they told me about their relative who's on the spectrum, and I was absolutely freaking blown away by the information they told me. And again, I can't go into details, but yeah, open up the conversation and let's stomp out this stigma about it. There's a lot of the comments. I'll give you an example. A lot of the comments, Rose, when people say, "Oh, I'm sorry," yeah, you know, that sorry business that we were talking about at the start, that comes from an innocent, I'll say innocent ignorance, not being educated, not being aware. I'll go so far as to say that the 25 people that are in here because they want to either know about autism, or they've come to hear your story, my story, they're interested. You can bet your bottom bazooka that there's going to be others out there that don't know. They don't know where to turn. They don't know how to even lean on someone for support. And that's another thing. If you're in chat and you think that you're having to do this on your own, you don't. Geographically, Rose and I may be separated from so many people, whether you're in Australia, whether you're overseas, whether you're overseas or whatever, but we are all connected by this medium. And just when you think that, you know, you might be at your darkest dark, and you have a child that's throwing the biggest tantrum, or they're not hitting a milestone, or you're scared to take that step to go to your pediatrician to get a diagnosis of whatever it may be. It may not necessarily be autism. It could be pervasive developmental disorder. It could be just delayed development. It could be anything. And it's not about getting the label. It's about getting the assistance. Speak to me and Rose if you're here in Australia. I can certainly point, you know, and then reach out to everyone else who's in chat who might be in your local country that'll be able to help you, whether it's the UK, US, Canada, because I know that we've got people from everywhere here tonight. That's, yeah, my message.
Let's just scroll back a bit. So, Carol, in UK, you have higher and lower end, have special schools, but trying to get them in. That's it. I understand that there's criteria for schools designed around children like Mackenzie and Noah, and you know, other, you know, all those children. But it shouldn't be difficult to get into. If you can prove your child has this need, it should be simple. That's my opinion. These kids are being robbed of a chance of early intervention and help when they need it the most. Yeah, definitely genetic. It's on, as you heard Pete yesterday, he's undiagnosed, that he admits he's on the spectrum. We've known for quite some time. You heard me ask Jordan whether he was thought he was on. He's wondered, but he you know, if he has extremely low needs and he's extremely you'd never know. He would be very hard to diagnose now. Never saw any signs of it when he was a kid, though. I don't have the booster either. Mine's hive related. They can shove it where the sun don't shine, and that's what I told them when they rung me. Max, they definitely do not grow out of it. If you look at a child who knows had low needs autism and is now classed as having grown out of it, ask the parents what they did and the hard work they put into it, because I'll guarantee you, it's still there. It's just been well supported and well helped for that child to be where they are. And that's not saying that I don't support one thing Kenzie, because she's not going to be where Noah is anytime soon. Different kettle of fish. But just ask them what they do, because you will learn so much. Trust me, you will learn so much. Yeah, Jane, our kids are clever. Look at Kenzie's artwork. She writes, she talks when she wants to, but she talks. She can read like an adult. She types. What she does is she will sit there and she'll listen to a video on YouTube. She'll type it into her talk chat, and she types up a whole lot of things, and then she has it speaking to her when she wants to hear it. And that's how she learns her new words. That and music. She sings. High C's. Operatic. Oh my God.
She's got one of the best opera voices.
Carol, it would have been very, very hard. And it's parents like you, for me, parents like you and Linda and Gracie and Pete and Sarah and Pete's family who have been through it before me, that paved the way for me to be able to provide for Kenzie what I provide for Kenzie. But I still fight for things to make things right for people like Jane, who's one's a little, and she's, and then that's how it works. We support one another in some way or another. And I always thank the older generations for the fight that they put in. And you would have heard me the other day say it, because they were our pioneers. They were the ones that helped us get where we can be today for our children, the rights that our children have, because they did the hard work to start with. And they need to be acknowledged, because their road was a lot freaking tougher than ours. Their children were put into institutions.
100%. Oh, lovely.
Oh, just
Bye-bye.
what we needed.
So, just I don't know how you feel about this, Rose, but I've just had a very quiet word on the side to offspring number 2 here. If you wanted to include his take, he said he's happy.
Yeah.
If you want to come on, he's freezing.
Oh, come and cuddle up with Mum. She'll keep you warm.
He looks like a hood. Like, can't stretch it anymore. Come here.
She used to complain all the time about being cold. Now the roles are reversed.
So this is offspring number 2.
Obviously.
So offspring number 1. What was that?
Star Wars? Is this already a Star Wars one?
Rick and Morty.
Rick and Morty.
Ah, nice. I have a Winnie the Pooh one.
Yeah, so how do you feel being offspring number 2 and growing up with Noah? What's your take on the world?
I don't know. Well, from my perspective, I wasn't really told, like, from a young age that Noah was on the spectrum. He was just Noah to me. He was my brother. And I never saw him any other way. Like, he has his quirks like everyone else does, but he's just my brother. So I never really saw any different. But as I got older and I noticed that, like, a prime example, right, was when he came home from school one day and said that he didn't need to do homework anymore. Now, to my, I think, 11-year-old brain, I was like, what? How come I have to do homework and I'm 2 years younger and he doesn't? Now I understand that because of the pathway that he was placed on and he goes through in life, that, like, that's how his school worked and how he's supposed to progress, because the school he went to was to help build trade skills and, like, get him ready for the workplace, whereas the school I went to was to build up knowledge and build up different types of like different skills that are catered like perfectly to what I would want to do in the future. So like going to TAFE or uni or something like that. Now, looking back now, I can see the reason why, but I could notice small little differences. So for young kids, it might be a little bit difficult to grasp the concept of someone who's on the spectrum, why they're maybe treated slightly differently or have like different things. But the way I was brought up, and I believe that was very well.
I think so too.
No one should be treated differently just because of the way they were born. It's not right.
I have a
People-
question for you.
Yeah.
So my son's the older of the two, so he's actually a year older than Noah. So and he's very protective over Kenzie, but he's like, I don't know if mum will fill you in on some of our story. She's been through a lot, so he's very protective. When you discovered that there was something unique about Noah, has it made you that little more protective over him, or do you just still treat him the same way you've always treated him?
Well, I always treat him the same way I always treated him. It didn't really change anything because he's just from the time just like Mum said about like a little while ago about when she told Grandma. He didn't change from 5 minutes before I was told, like, and afterwards. It wasn't really. It was just, oh, that's why he does that. That makes sense.
Yeah.
It more gave closure to why he did things rather than, oh, this it didn't work that way for me. Yeah, I just saw him as he's just Noah to me.
Yeah. So for us, it was we got a second diagnosis of something else, and that was the same reaction that I had that you've just explained. With Kenzie was a very sick baby. When we got that diagnosed 4 years ago, it was for me, it was like, oh, that explains what we went through. So that explains why she was the way she was at a certain age point. Okay, here, I'm just going to kiss my husband good night because he's going to bed.
Good night, people.
He says good night, people. Yes, it was just, for us, it was once again, it's a different situations create different reactions, which is, it's really good to see. It's good. Sorry, he distracted me.
All good.
Well, it's actually it's an interesting question.
Advice to parents here. Oh, sorry, carry on.
No, go. If I could.
Oh, you want me to? Yeah, if you could, if Gabe, if you could give advice to the parents here, as someone who's watched your mum raise you two boys, what would that advice be as part of this story?
Don't treat
what would your advice be to them
differently. Don't treat them differently. Treat them exactly the same. So if don't let one go without. Don't give an extra bowl of ice cream to one of them because they were able to. It doesn't matter. Give them the same bedtimes. Treat them exactly the same. That way they're both fairly treated. That way nothing is handed to one just because of something different. That way one isn't looked unfairly. Because while the child who has special needs would be struggling and have, that in their life, you don't also want to. It's going to sound bad the way I'm going to put this, but you don't want to neglect the other kid in favor to putting all your attention on that. You want to make sure that you're giving
that I made.
A mistake, do you think,
advice.
or out of
great advice? Because that was something I made. I think it was more out of necessity. We went through a lot more than just the autism, and I think that, especially in the early days, that made a lot of. We had to make a lot of different choices than most parents would have to make. We had a child who we were expecting to die at any moment, and that obviously has changed. But so there was a lot of different circumstances. I think if we got the diagnosis and that was the only diagnosis we got, it would have been, I would have raised Jordan and Kenzie the same way that you've raised Gabe and Noah, but we had different circumstances. But it was something that Jordan and I spoke about quite openly when he came on and said his side, because you never know. Everyone's, like I said, everyone's story is different because every situation is different, and that's the one thing I would go back and change, was to make him feel less isolated than what he actually did when he was younger, because that's the only regret that I actually have over that period of time. I wouldn't change Kenzie's diagnosis. I wouldn't change who she is for the world. I wouldn't change who my son is for the world, because he's an amazing young man. But I would take away that feeling. And that's what I said. When he was asked the same question, he said the opposite. He goes, I wouldn't change anything. And that was a learning point for me, because I was like, well, okay, he's obviously, we've obviously moved on from that particular thing. And the only one who's holding on to guilt over it is me.
Yeah.
So that is something I'm going to be working on. For me as a mum. I mean, I have a great relationship with him, but it's still something that I held on to. So that is something I have to let go. So that was a really big learning point for me. But it's good because these people here get to see the different stories, and they get to see like your version and mum's version and my family's version as well. And and it gives them an open example of what we live with.
Yeah.
And the choices we've all made.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you remember the video? I can't remember his name, and there's no need to even say his name, but the video that kid made.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you remember? I remember, but do you remember what part of that video upset you the most?
Okay, I should explain a little bit of backstory. I had a student in my class when I was in like year 4 or 5. I don't remember exactly, but
Primary school.
Yeah, like early to late primary school, like mid primary school. And this student decided to make a YouTube video that was taken down for reasons that you're about to hear. They started just ranting about how they
Hang on. Just hold that thought. There's going to be a trigger warning of a word here, just letting you know.
Essentially they were going on about how they found students in the class annoying and the reasons why they didn't like them. And then it came around to me, and they said that, like, I don't remember what they said about me. I particularly didn't really care. But the part that upset me was, she said, trigger warning. But he said that I don't like his brother because he's a retard on a retarded bus. This is like a 10-year-old saying this.
Mm-hmm. So that went up on YouTube. And it went viral around the school. I can't even remember how it got brought to my attention, but I had to go into damage control because, just like he said, and we haven't spoken about that video in how many years?
I didn't even remember till you brought it up.
There you go. So this is not pre-planned or anything, but it's amazing that after all these years, it is that one thing that still affected him most out of all of that was someone picking on his brother like that. I was upset for Noah, but then I had to go into not damage control, but had to calm him down because he was hyperventilating all over the place and wanted to just chuck Norris's kid in the head. But that's okay. Mama Bear took her ass down to the school, straight up to the school, and blasted you weren't in the room, but I blasted the crap out of the principal, and basically insisted that either that video go down or charges would be laid and all the rest of it. So that was way back then. Hey.
Hello.
Do you want to say hello?
So.
Do you want to stick your fingers in? We are talking about you, kind of, sort of. Maybe you just wave. Do you want to wave?
Hi, Noah.
Come on, bless them with the Jesus beard.
Is dinner going to be happening?
Okay.
There's eggs go frying.
Understand.
Well, we were just talking about this.
And what about Walking Dead?
Yeah, we'll get yeah, I'll come over soon. But reverse that. We'll reverse that and how, you know, the boys have been brought up to have each other's back. So this one here was taken to hospital, came down with a suspected, what was it, bacteria? Which one's the bad one? Viral. He came down with suspected viral meningitis. Right? Yeah. So he was in the whole throes of sensitivity from light. You know, he had the photophobia from the light and hearing and everything. He was in the worst state I've ever seen him.
Side note, they put me in the kids ward. There was screaming babies across with me. I had hypersensitivity in the ears to the point where saying anything was deafening.
Yeah. And then, but to the point that I was making, that the older one, I've never seen him so visibly concerned for his well-being. Like he was pacing up and down. He was making phone calls. He was doing everything. And this was back in the throes of COVID, where they would only allow one person in the emergency room, and that was me. And that kid stayed out in the emergency waiting room for about 2.5 hours waiting for news of his brother. And would not leave until I came out. And he actually then took the bus back to his dad's until he knew his brother was settled. So, yeah, there's highs and lows, isn't there? Would we change it, Bob?
Maybe change getting meningitis. That sucked ass.
Yeah. I bet it did.
Yeah. But yeah, we make it work. We make it work. We know even he's clued on to what's the other one just being a smarty, or what's him not comprehending a social cue. Yeah. And I know when this one's just being a sook, or when something's really giving him anxiety. So, and they both step up and look after me. So
I think one of the best things as a parent for anybody is to learn your child's cues. And for all mums and all dads out there, learn them, because they make your life so much easier.
Yeah.
Like I used to, like Jordan used to walk in the door from high school, and I could see whether he'd had a good day or a bad day within 5 seconds, just by the look on his face. If he had a bad day, we'd have a hot chocolate or a cold drink, we'd sit down and we'd talk, because he obviously had stuff on his mind, and it was easier. I'd rather him talk than bottle it up, because he suffers anxiety and that as well. So, you know, we learn to do things because I think, especially for parents like us, we've had to learn those cues a lot quicker and in a lot harder way, because we've got children who rely on us knowing their cues. So one benefit that has is we can pick up the cues of our other children really quickly, because we've had to learn to do that. So I think that's a bonus that we have. It's still
Yep, 100%. Absolutely, Eva. Oh, look, there's Eva. You see Eva when I talk to Tinker, or Eva. I call her Eva. There's been a lot of.
Sorry.
What was it?
I said it takes a village to raise any child, and what we're building here is a village.
Yep. And that's why I was inviting people, you know, after you know, if it's the middle of the day wherever you are watching us right now. I mean, for us it's getting towards nighttime. Well, it's already 9:30, but you know, but if you are going to be interacting with people, which whether it's on a social media platform or whether it's face to face, open the conversation. Spread the word. Spread the word. That's how these, in my opinion, that's what awareness and understanding and acceptance is all about, is by not brushing it under, if you work a 9-to-5 job or whatever sort of job and you're at work, have a, what do you call it? A water cooler conversation.
Yeah. I mean, I will take the opportunity to talk autism with anyone, because as far as I'm concerned, that's how people learn. By sharing knowledge, that's how we learn with anything. And I'm quite, like, I have had one mum who I'm hoping to get on here. Her daughter is 9 years old. She's a little bit younger than Kenzie, but she's very similar to how Kenzie was at the same age. And she comes to me for support, and I help her as much as I can. But I'm hoping to get her on, because she's got a story, and her daughter can't tell her story because she's very similar to Kenzie. But that story needs to be told too. And that's how we learn, is by listening to other people's stories, listening to the advice that's given, those that walk the walk, because we walk it as parents. And if we can help one parent help their child that little bit more, then that's a good thing.
Yeah. And it's amazing. And you may be thinking to yourself, oh, there's not much I can do, or there's not, what can I do to change the ways of the world or make an impact? And you'd be surprised just in the even speak in words that you use. Case in point, one of my pet peeves, and it grates me like this, like I just want to, he's seen me lose it. For example, if there happens to be a missing child, children who go missing, they're missing from home, they go missing in the bush, or they've wandered away from home. One of my pet peeves is when the media automatically slap that label. A 9-year-old autistic boy is missing from home. Well, why is it relevant? Why do they put a 9-year-old blonde-haired, blue-eyed, freckle-faced, snot-nosed kid is missing from home? No. Why do they have to put, or why? And I know I've had this conversation with Rose, and you made a valid point, because I know you said that you had assisted because of the experience. You and I have had this story. I get that. However, I don't think it needs to be plastered as front page, capital letter. Like that, to me, I think it's condescending. I think it's like, it drags it down. We as a family, my son as a young man, are not defined by the world of autism. It doesn't define this house. It doesn't define me as a parent. It doesn't define him as a brother. And it certainly doesn't define him as a individual. And if you guys in chat want to walk away with just any little nugget, is just flipping the script on, if you have done in the past, just be aware, because you don't know the person who's receiving or listening to you or reading something that may be written, put yourself in that parent's shoes, is what I'm saying. Because if you have, if you have a child who's got, all right, no disrespect, you've just gone red, and you know that I'm going red, right? I'm trying. Look, see, I'm trying. Hey, look.
Which I found that afterwards, That's all right. We're going to talk about that after.
You know that redheads, right, are typically teased, right?
Yeah.
We know that. And it's not nice. It's not right. It's not fair. I'm not giving it, any positive light whatsoever. I think it sucks nuts that people decide to pick on all things someone's coloured hair, to be fair. But if you're the parent of a redhead, you're not going to sit there and accept the fact that someone says, your red-headed 9-year-old picked on this kid or went missing. Put yourself in that parent's position. Stop labeling.
Yeah.
I'm just passionate about it, aren't I? Like I go on a tangent.
Like, I understand why.
Sorry. I'm trying to change the way I speak, because I'm surrounding myself with a lot more adults who have autism, and I used to always do that. They're autistic, But that's like, that sounds so negative to me. So I don't say Kenzie's autistic. I say Kenzie has autism, because it's a diagnosis. That's what she has. She has autism. It's a label, but yes, that's what she has. But it doesn't define her. She is an artist. She is a singer. She is got the most amazing sense of humor. She's interactive. She's loving. She's caring. She loves animals. I can list all the things that she loves. Her favorite color is bright pink. There's so much more to her than just that label. And so, having been around, as she's got older, I'm becoming around more adult people with autism, and I'm starting to talk to them more, and they're starting to educate me on a different level that helps. It's like, I used to be one of the ones that used to say, I have my house is an autistic house. No, it's not. My house is a home that just happens to have a person in it that has autism. I can't call her a child because she's a young woman now, but she's still my baby, very much so. But we're just a home that happens to have someone in it that has autism that requires additional help than other people. But it doesn't define my home. We do things like, we make sure she can't get out because she's a runner. We make sure the windows are secure so she can't sneak out. Mind you, I would have done that for teenagers sneaking out, because I was a teenager that snuck out. There's little different things that we put in place. Because it's like, if you've got a toddler in the house who's getting into cupboards that they shouldn't be getting into, you put safety catches on the cupboards. We've had to do that. It's what you do for a child or a person who requires an extra assistance. We do what we do. And like, we're just trying to change the way we speak to a more positive aspect rather than the negative undertones that have been in the past. And it's something you learn with time. Something you learn by talking to people, and it's what we do.
100%.
I can understand when Grace was saying about newspaper reports, when they say 9-year-old autistic child has gone missing, for the fact they need to word it better. But it's telling people out there, if they come across a child that is missing, they're looking for this child. They need to be also mindful that that child has autism, and that child could very well have a very much of a different reaction to.
So they could put that in the story rather than
they need to word it differently.
They could do missing child, and then in the story have so and so is a 10-year-old boy, blonde hair, blue eyes, freckles, whatever. He also has a diagnosis of autism, maybe non-verbal, rah. There are other ways that, and I agree.
Instead of putting the bullet over their head with a great big.
Having studied, I'm actually a qualified journalist, so having studied journalism, I know all the reasons why they do this, and not to bring race or color into this, but it's no different to when, if they're reporting on a story of a crime, if there is a particular nationality that's other than full-blown Australian Caucasian, there is the necessity to sensationalize the story by putting the nationality of that said person. What does it matter if this person is black, if they're African, if they're, Asian, if they're Aboriginal or Islander or of a particular religious faith? What difference does that make to the context of the story of a person committing a crime? It doesn't. It sensationalizes the story. It is for, I think the modern phrase is, I think you taught me this, but is it the cat thing?
Catfishing.
Catfishing. No, not catfishing.
I'm trying to.
When you do something and you're trying to attract for the wrong reasons. Anyway. But
narcissistic behavior.
Well, that's another thing too.
As Grace knows, because Grace and I've had this conversation, I've been involved in a few overseas rescues from the point of actually educating the people out searching on how to look for an autistic child, because it's something I have a lot of experience in, and because we've had to do it so many times. And so educating searchers on how to not successfully locate, because sometimes it's a successful locate and there's still a sad outcome, but there's certain things that are when a child with autism goes missing that you've got to be aware of. And like a good example was Michaela Lynch a little while ago. She's been gone 8-9 years now, and she reminded me so much of Kenzie. And I reached out to the search team myself on this one and said, look, this is my advice on how to search for her. And sadly, I was correct. And they sadly found her near the water, and it wasn't successful. But things like, and this is just a good tip for anyone, if you are aware of a child with autism who goes missing, and it is common because most of them are runners, ask the parent where their favourite place to go is. Ask them what their favourite sound is. Take a recording of that favourite sound. Take a recording of mum and dad so that they're all familiar sounds that they know. Also, the first stop always, if there is water nearby, that should always be your first stop, because most, and I'm saying 95% of children with autism will go to water because they're attracted to it. There's something about the sounds of it, the feel of it, the atmosphere. They just love it. And not all of them have been given the opportunity to learn to swim. Kenzie can swim. Whether it should be enough to survive, don't know. Don't take the risk. So never going to find out. But yeah, there are things that you can, things that need to be done a certain way with a child who goes missing that has autism, because they're not going to respond to you shouting out to their name. Then if they're nonverbal, they're not going to yell out back to you. But if you listen carefully to the noises around you, and you playing sounds on, even if it's just off your phone, it's so much easier these days, of mum and dad calling their name. Or like with us, if Kenzie went missing, I'd take Jordan out with me, because she'd respond more to Jordan than she would respond to me. Or a favorite, maybe they've got a favorite song, or like with Kenzie, if she went missing now, I'll just walk around the neighborhood going, "Kookaburra sits in the old gum tree," and wait for the kookaburra sound. That's what I'd be listening for. So yeah, I mean, it is a big fear for parents like us when you've got a running child, and it puts a whole different demeanor on it. And it's a stressful time for parents when their child goes. I mean, I've been there like more times than I can count. And when you've got the media bombarding you as a parent and saying, pointing out all the things that have supposedly gone wrong, it doesn't help. And the labels do not help, because all we're worrying about is where our child is, and whether our child's going to come back alive. Because that's as soon as your child goes missing, it's like, where are they? Where are they? Which direction did they go in? Rah. Am I going to get them back? Because it's not a case of have they been abducted. It's a case of where did they go that was dangerous, because they have no fear.
They don't have any fear. No, that's right. You make a really good point. They don't have any fear. And I don't know how Kenzie is with this, but Noah's got the most highest pain threshold of any human soul I know on this earth. Any human, adult and child alike, his pain threshold is to the point of being dangerous. He broke or cracked. He cracked his collarbone playing football at school, and I had to go pick him up from school. Now, this is a kid with a cracked. They thought it had dislocated. And so because with a dislocation, when you present to emergency, dislocation, adult or child, they always treat it as like they rush you through. They x-rayed it. This kid had a cracked collarbone, and the most that he could muster is that when I picked him up from the sick bay at school, he had one lonely little tear rolling down his cheek from the pain, and that was it. Now, love you to parts and pieces, offspring number 2. Yeah, but this kid stubs his toes, and all of a sudden he needs crutches, he needs, his foot up, ice, the Panadol, he needs all the things. You do, and you know it. You know it.
Yeah. Stub toes hurt like a bitch, just saying.
I'm just, as an example, yeah?
I've broken my little toe so many times. I don't even feel it now. Like, I freak people out. It's so broken. I break it and it'll be out like sitting like that, and it just and I literally just go click back in, and people go, ooh, but I don't feel it because there's like literally I've broken so many of them. But Kenzie's the same as no, she's got a very high pain threshold. The only pain that I know her to have difficulty with, and no, I will never get to have this pain, is menstruation. That is the one pain she struggles with. When we know it's coming, Nurofen comes out. We make sure she has it regularly, and that is the way to get through it. I mean, with COVID, she had that on top of everything else. She still was like a trooper. Like, this kid was up and about and wanting to run around the second day. Me, on my second day, I'm going to die. Not her. She's up and running around and like there's nothing wrong. I'm just going,
Yeah, well, let me just say that if anyone in chat does have a son, because Rose has spoken about girls and periods and things like that. Let me just say, well, if your boys are going to grow into the puberty, it's going to happen. Be prepared. No different. None.
No.
Trust me. The boys will still...
Yeah.
They will still want to investigate what's going on down there and enjoy what pleasures happen when things happen. And, you know where I'm going with this. I'm not going to spell it all out, but be prepared.
Yeah. If you've got a daughter who's on the spectrum, I'm going to say exactly the same thing. It is exactly the same. They still investigate. They still do things. I could say things, but if my daughter actually gets to a point where she wants to watch this later, I'm not going to share certain things with you guys. But let's just say she knows things. Periods were not a problem. Like, seriously, it was taught to her in a way that she could understand what was going on by the school she was at, and by me, I was a part of the process. We were so prepared that the day she got up, I got more of a shock than she did. She was just like, eh. I was like, oi. I was like, oh, Bob, you started your period. She was like, blank face. I know. And I'm sitting there going, what do we do? You know, I'm literally bringing the pediatrician at home going, Tracy, Kenzie started periods. What do I do? And she's like, well, she's in pull-ups. Don't worry about it. And it's been that way ever since. We just bath her a little bit more. We keep her clean, super clean. We just deal with it. It's no different. Oh, Natalie, trust me, the innocence of your son, I've got boys, and they're, I've got one
Natalie, honey bun, sweetheart, it's going to happen.
I am watching.
Look at this. Look.
We had a rule in the house. It was not, if you were going to explore your body, it had to be done in the privacy of your own bedroom, and your door had to be shut. That was the rules.
And quiet.
And quiet.
No, that was never a rule.
That's always been a rule. What are you talking about?
You have AirPods, it's fine.
Look, my children learned at a very young age. Mum will out-scream a lot of them.
Maybe that's what I should do.
You can do that. We'll be louder.
We're going to have a competition, are we?
Sure.
All right.
Yeah. We used to say to Jordan, we used to say to Jordan, and I've said it to Kenzie, that happens in your bedroom. If you want to do that, you go into your bedroom and shut the door. And that's always been the way it's been, and it's worked. Like, it just, I mean, we get the Kenzie puts her hands down her pants, so we just go, no hands down your pants in the lounge. That's what we do.
Yeah.
When it came to wearing bras, she was so used to watching me put them on, it was not an issue at all.
Hands out of pants. Yeah, true. He thinks it's hilarious to do that at home in front of us, says Jane.
It's an age.
Definitely.
It's the age.
The age. It really is. I must say, I had a super proud mama moment when I saw Noah's first little come out. Like, oh, he's growing. Yet his bum fluff happening.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what you're talking about.
What did you think I was talking about?
I love you, Gabe. I really do.
when she said, "Oh, when I saw his first little come out."
No, my son will
It's
tell
like
you,
you
we
there.
used to have the most, he would be sitting there blushing by the time we got to the school bus because we'd have to drive 20 minutes to get into the school bus. And we would have these conversations because it was the only time it was just him and I. So we would have these conversations on the way to and from school. And like I'd ask him, about condoms and did he need condoms? Was he having, rah, 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 and like, did he need to know about how to shave it? Because, he was at home and with mum and like, seriously, and he would be blushing by the time we got to the school or the school bus because he'd be just, I don't want to talk about this with you, mum. I said, no.
Yeah, well, I think we're super. I told them last week how you and I, we go condom shopping, ask you to load them up in the cart. Yeah, see?
Yeah, we do. I did the same thing with Jordan. They're in the drawer. I'll just keep an eye on them. If they need stocking up, I'll
Oh,
stock
no.
them up.
I don't be going in no. I made that mistake once. Oh, hell no. No.
Okay. We had two teenage girls the same age, roughly the same age. So they were put into a communal drawer in the bathroom up high where they were the only ones that could get it. Was three technically girls and a teenage boy. That drawer was so stocked it wasn't funny with all shapes, all sizes, all flavors, you name it, it was in there. Because I'd rather know that they were practicing safe sex than not, and I was going to be an early age grandma because I was already an early age grandma once. Thank you, Bridie. But
No. You've got a condom drawer, is what you're talking about. You've got the drawer. No. He's talking about his side table drawer.
No one goes in those.
Thank you.
You open mine at your own risk.
He got me to go. He needed something. He was at his dad's. Yeah, look, see? And he goes, have a look in my side drawer. And I said, Gabriel, if I open this drawer and I see things that I can't unsee anymore, there will be pain.
There was pain.
There was pain. There are just some things that a mother should not be seeing. About her baby boy. There is just, we talk openly about something. I don't need to.
My kids learned from opening my drawer, don't ask me to go into their drawers because if they did that to me, I would have automatically gone, can you go into my side drawer? And I would make them go into my side drawer because if they thought theirs was embarrassing, mine was 10 times more so. The gay, be thankful that that's your mother.
Yeah.
When we're talking about this, can we talk about the box?
The box?
Oh, I don't have a box. I have a whole bedside table.
No. As a joke, I was when we were first moving in the old house, so the house before this one, I was like, "Hey, so you got all your boxes?" She's like, "Nah, we got to there's still more boxes to move." And I was like, "What? You got to move your dildo box?" And me not knowing anything about this, I was making a joke. Apparently, that night my dad brought over said box, because this is right when they separated, and apparently, some words were had, and she outed herself.
So, in other words, he said it as a joke, innocently.
Yeah.
About a particular box that had particular items in there. He said it as a joke. He had no clue. So when his father came over, I absolutely ripped his father a new one and said, what the F are you doing telling the kids about this box and what's in it and blah, 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 blah. He's sitting there going, and this one's going, what? It's true? I was joking.
One of mine came over on the airplane with me. So if anyone knows, you go through the airport, your stuff gets x-rayed. So they would have had a giggle.
I I did tell Jenny. Jenny was supposed to come with hers internal. Remember, Jenny? Do you remember that comment? I did tell you that to smuggle it down.
Yeah, I didn't bring it down.
You
Uh,
don't
And
have
this-
to buy one and put it in a drawer here.
hang on. What was that?
She can just buy one and keep it in a drawer here. She's got a room pretty much that she's the only one that uses. So at least I get COVID. And then I'm not going to go into her sex drawer.
Well, depending on what time you girls come on Saturday, we'll take a trip to Sexyland. How's that?
Well, Kenzie goes. I'm going to get Kenzie settled first because that makes it easier for Rory. So it'll be after 6:30. So
I'm pretty sure they're open till late. I've got you.
eh?
They're normally open late.
Yeah, Jenny knows.
I haven't been there yet.
By my arm today.
Why are you waxing part of your
We
arm?
have to do a live to Sexyland.
Yeah, we could do it on a live.
Oh no.
That'd be awesome.
Want to come? Do you want to come?
I'll be at work, unfortunately. Actually, or fortunately. No.
You and me at Sexyland?
Sexyland's boring.
Hey, no!
Hey, don't tell me that. I haven't been there yet.
It's. I'll think down.
Well, I had a costume party and I needed particular handcuffs for particular. Don't you dare!
I've still got those photos.
No, you don't.
Oh yes, I do.
You're not allowed to show them.
Okay.
Anyway, I needed fluffy handcuffs for a particular outfit that I was wearing, right? For this, let's say it was a cross-dressing party.
Nice.
Ah, nice.
Yeah.
Silk ties are better, just for the record.
Hmm?
Silk ties.
What
are
was
better.
that?
Silk ties are always better than handcuffs.
Yeah, but this just completed the look.
Sorry, Grace.
I'm just making mental notes. I'm good.
Look, we were doing Rory's 40th, and we had said to people they had to turn up as a rock and roll theme or a science fiction theme for his 40th birthday. And our best mate Daryl, who's the one that built the TARDIS, turned up, surprised Rory, dressed as Frankenfurter, looked the part, sung the part, literally corset, G-strings, you name it, wig, pearled, looked absolutely amazing. So, like, there is nothing about cross-dressing parties that surprised me. For my 40th, we had pirates and wenches. His wife came as the pirate, and he came as the wench with these great big filled melons. He outgrouped the wench of the night.
Now I know Noah likes Doctor Who. Are you a Doctor Who fan as well?
Yes.
Can you flick the camera around and show? This is one of the very few things that she brought over from New Zealand.
That is so cool.
And inside that is all Doctor Who memorabilia.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
I'll open it for you. Hang on a minute.
No, I'm going to get a certain item.
It's what's the name size? It's life size. It's like huge.
That is so cool.
I thought you'd appreciate that.
Oh no, I've got that here.
This is how tall it is.
Oh yeah, she's going to show you how tall it is. So,
I'm about 5'6".
So you know how tall Jenny is? Look at that. It's massive.
Jeez.
the light's sitting over there. We just haven't put it on top yet because we're not sure if it's going to stay on that angle or we're going to have to shift it. But I'll show you something. If you're a Doctor Who fan.
Oh, he is. They both are. They both are.
I'm going to ask you a very important question soon. So hang on a second. But, so, you know, I'm a diamond painter. You know, I work with Jenny and Uniquely Yours. And I do not touch the wood of this. This is an authentic diamond painting pen made from the original first TARDIS with Hartnett.
Wow.
Yeah. I do not touch the wood. It does not get used. It's literally my pride, one of my pride and joys.
It's the wood of the first TARDIS.
The first ever TARDIS that they made. This is the wood, and
Why? How did you manage to get that?
They were selling. They've been auctioning pieces of it off to be it for fans to use, and it got turned into a diamond painting pen for me.
because I said to my diamond painting guy, can you create a TARDIS blue pen? And he said I can do one better. He said I can get wood from the original TARDIS. And my husband is a Doctor Who fan as well, so I got a diamond painting pen made up for Rose and a ballpoint pen made up for Peter. They have certificates of authenticity on them and everything.
Yeah, the certificate of authenticity is in the TARDIS itself, and I have this here to show because every now and then I just like to kind of go.
Question: Who plays the best Doctor?
Dave Tennant. Okay, new school. Okay, if you're going old, I'm going to go flip. I've got to remember my names now. Oh, my brain's just gone blank. Hang on a minute.
This is where I need help.
He doesn't know.
The fourth one.
That is Tom Baker.
No,
Tom.
that's not the fourth doctor. No, hang on. It might be the third. Hang on.
Oh, thanks, Kath.
No, it's the third one. John Pertwee. I could say it's old school him. So new series, I would go David Tennant and then Peter Capaldi. Those two are my two favorites. I like Jodie. I think she's been screwed over by storylines, sadly, and I'm looking forward to Russell T Davies coming back, and so I'm very excited about that.
Yeah,
I haven't seen any. Like, I stopped watching a little while ago after Capaldi left. I didn't get the news. I didn't watch the new season onwards from that because just stuff happened and I never got to it. And then I heard like bad reviews.
Oh yeah. Oh, I also have because I want it. This is a cover minder, and if you
You know all the magnets that I've got that I pull up. Yeah, she's
Mm-hmm.
got the TARDIS version or whatever that thing is. The
yeah,
phone
you're right, TARDIS, yeah.
phone booth.
Yeah.
And I have a tattoo, and yeah, I actually have a couple because there's like a little part of it, one there for Jordan. These are all Jordan's birthday cakes that he's had. So I made a 3D, like a proper 3D one of the TARDIS standing up cake for his birthday 1 year.
Wow.
Mm.
Oh, we got extra. See, they've come back.
Yeah, they came back different. Yeah.
Yeah, and they were put in timeout, and they were also hidden.
Mm. Yeah, so I've got a Van Gogh, a Scentsy candle thing that burns Scentsy candles, and it's got the Van Gogh Starry Nights on it because like that's one of my favorites. But to be fair, Starry Nights was a favorite art piece before Doctor Who.
What fried eggs in the sky?
That is not fried eggs. I will wash your mouth out, woman.
Look it up on YouTube, Doctor Who.
Mm. Oh, Natalie, you need to come down here. I will educate you. All right. So does anyone have any more questions for Gracie and Gabe and Noah?
And just for the record, in case people think, and I don't, and just to make sure that it's understood, Noah's been invited but has elected not to appear on YouTube. So it's not that one's given preference over the other. He has been invited, but to this moment, he's elected no. True? Because ideally, it would be lovely to have both of them.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Comfortable with.
Yeah.
Oh, Tink, bless your bum.
Bunch of hugs. They did that to Jeremy the other day too, I think. Oh, the
Sex bots.
the bots. I still don't get these bots and what
They're scammers.
Yeah, but what's the point of them? They're robots or something, aren't they?
Annoy the crap out of people, and hopefully they click on the links that they're giving them, and then that will allow access to computers.
Natalie, I'll answer that if you promise not to tell my husband, who's a Star Wars fan.
Oh, speaking of which, May the 4th be with you all.
Yeah.
I was
There you go.
today because I officially got my Australian Victorian license today. I went and actually got it, and like did all the paperwork and stuff and paid for it on May the 4th. So I thought that was kind of cool because I've been trying to get it for the last 3 months, but something's always come up and I've not managed to make my appointments. And then the last time I had it, I ended up with COVID. So I got in there today, got it done, and on May the 4th, I will always remember that as the day that I got my Victorian license.
Oh, well, I just want to say thank you so much for having me on. I'm actually quite happy is that the word? I thought it was going to be quite emotional, but you've made it really, really comfortable, and tribute to you, to Jen there sitting on that's my couch.
I'm comfortable on here.
There's a fight for it with her and Paula at the moment.
Yeah, on there.
That is actually going because the lounge suite that's in the lounge, we're getting a new one, and that one's coming down here.
Hey, I'd be just stretched out on the couch.
Yeah.
Well, that upstairs retreat area, I've decided what we're going to do with that. We're going to get big bean bags.
I said
Well,
that
if you
from
want the armchair, it's a perfectly good lazy boy. So if you want it, it's yours. It's free to a good home.
I'll take it.
You come get it. I don't have a trailer or a tow bar, but you're welcome to come and get it.
That's good driving practice. Hold on, where do you?
Jenny's sitting on it. It's in great condition. The footrest still comes out.
Comfortable as heck.
I've slept on it many times. So if you
It
want
looks
it,
very
it's yours.
comfortable.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
Hold on, where?
Point Cook.
Where's that? Is that?
About 45 minutes. 45 minutes?
Oh, that's not that bad.
Yeah, 45 minutes. Yeah. So I'm just adjusting the camera because every time I move, I have to readjust it.
And I'd
Yeah,
like
you're going to
say
see your breasticles in a minute.
I thought you guys were in Queensland or something.
No, Jenny's from Queensland, who's visiting down here at the moment, and I'll
Right.
fill you in later. We won't, about
Gotcha.
why. And she's staying with Rose. And then these two are coming over here Saturday. You know they're going to be here Saturday. They're going to be here.
Even better.
Finish work. I want some of that Bailey. So don't scull it all, please.
Okay. If your mum agrees, this is if your mum agrees, you have to play. If you're going to have something to drink, you have to play one round of one game with me.
What game?
Oh no, these are my games.
Oh,
Yeah, what
shit.
game?
Put it this way, even I'm scared. And
Okay.
I don't know what games, but if they're coming from her, be scared.
Yeah,
I'm
down for whatever.
known amongst my circle of friends in New Zealand as being the Rory was the game king master. I was the game queen master. We could make a drinking game out of almost anything. No one got up from our table sober at all, ever.
Well, I've got both. The only thing I don't have, I mean, we can use regular, but I've got shot glasses.
Yeah.
So I've got shot glasses. We're down with that. We can.
I've
Well, I'm
always
bringing
wanted-
the Midori to go with the Bailey so we can have some quick fucks. Dave's like, I'm out of here.
No, he's getting. Look at him. He's getting closer. He's got right. Tell me more.
I mean, I've
We need
got
to
like
get some butterscotch
this
so we can
much
do
of a bottle
cowboy.
of Malibu from the weekend.
Hang on, you're both talking.
We're going to have plenty of alcohol on the way.
Yeah, well, we've got Midori coming. We're going to get some butterscotch snacks so we can have cowboys.
I think I've got. Can you guys check?
No, Cowboys ill.
Go check. I'm pretty sure I've got butterscotch something.
But when you have a cowboy, you have to literally scull it. So
What we
just
need
let
to do
it
is get the
cowboy.
shot glasses, buy a 6-pack of those shot glasses that have the split glasses.
Oh, them. Yeah.
I know what we need to do. We need to, the other thing I was talking about,
Mm.
we need to do that.
Mm.
Either way, our Saturday night here, and quite potentially that will be someone's early morning overseas, depending where you are. Just keep your notifications on either this channel. We don't know where it's going to be yet. We could pop up on both. Who knows?
Hey, Grace, do you like Jello?
Jello, as in ice cream? I mean, as in jelly?
Jelly.
Oh, yeah, that's happening. It's all right, we're making plans. We're going, for me, drinking is good music, good company, no drama, get drunk. That's it. It's a simple recipe, works every time. Good games to play. Shot bingo with Gracie's balls that keep drunk. Oh, perfect. Yes.
We're going to use.
Oh, wow.
Mhm.
I've told these girls, Stacey, if I have any one of those, I'm going to do a head count before they leave. And if one ball is missing,
We're going to do the Rose and Jenny style Jello shots.
do you know what? I've never had them.
You're going to.
You're going.
Is it actually jelly? Like, is it wobbly jelly, or is it a drink?
No, it's jelly. It's set jelly made with vodka.
I've never had one. I swear to you, I've never had one.
Well, we're going to break your virginity on that one. Oh, yeah. All right, so I'm going to do a giveaway. So my mum donated these for us, and I love these, and I've got some that I've got to put on my car. So these are ones that my mum found, and she paid for them and sent them over so we could give them away. And I love the fact that there's no puzzle piece inside or anything like that. So it says, child with special needs in an emergency situation, please be aware they may not respond, resist, and run away, be non-verbal, be unaware of danger.
Perfect.
And they can sit on the back of your car. Great stickers to have, especially if you've got a little one. So have you got your bingo balls handy?
Talk amongst yourselves. Let me go and locate the balls. Oh,
Okay.
geez,
So
these balls are old.
you guys are all going to choose a number, and the one closest to the one, so it will be anything up to that number. So if yours is the closest, say we pull out 35, your number 29, and that's the closest in that order, you will win one of these, and we will post them over to you. Stacey, if you could, while you can join in, Stacey, can you also please take note of who wins for me?
Hang on, he's just getting them.
Yeah. So I have a few of these to give away, but we'll give one away tonight.
And what I'd just like to say while Grace is looking for her balls.
Yeah.
I'd like to thank everyone for the support that they've offered me and are continuing to offer me over what's going on at the moment.
Mm. Oh, Mel, we're going to pop her cherry. Don't you worry about that.
She's asking you to take down names of who and what numbers everyone has.
Mm. So yeah, so if so whoever wins,
just note the winner.
Yeah, just the winner, love. And we'll be in touch to get your address so that we can post this to you. And they'll all be posted once they're all done, because I'll post them all out together.
All right. I swear, if the number 66 comes out, I will freak the F out.
I'm actually thinking of extending to the least.
Rory's already discussed it. So it's fine.
At this stage.
Actually, he brought it up, not me. Right,
Ready
guys.
to go when you are.
When I will type in stop, when to stop, you get one number, please, and it's what number do your balls go up to?
What number the balls go up to, Grace?
75.
I thought so.
So it's up to number 75.
One number each, guys, up to the number 75, and go.
Whilst everyone's choosing their numbers, thank you so much for having me. And
I think we could choosing to be my channel that you told your story on, because it was very special.
yeah, no, that honor was mine. Thank you.
I'm so pleased and relieved that the message that I'm wanting to get out with this series and this month and this, I mean, the first 3 days for me were extremely emotional, and you know that I talked, and I relived a lot of stuff that was very hard to relive, especially with all the stuff that went on with Kenzie. So I've had to have downtime in the afternoon, especially to just decompress and
Mm-hmm.
get through those emotions because they were quite hard. So it's been, but hearing the feedback and having people like you contact me saying, you know, are you okay? Because ours isn't a typical story, and there is no typical story, but ours is definitely not it. And it was just, it's been rewarding as well as a blessing to be able to share her story and actually have the support to do so. So
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
All right. You ready to hit stop?
I'm going to
69.
hit stop.
Number.
Is everybody chosen? Going once,
Can I roll it?
going twice, and stop.
Hold it so that you can see where the number comes out. Yeah.
Same
So,
rules as Gracie, with the number closest to whatever's drawn out.
So which way is
And
it?
we'll count Michelle's in.
oi.
9.
Show.
Number 9. Number 9. So we've got Tessa.
Cass, no, Cass, no.
I think it is actually Tessa at number 10. It's the closest.
Kath, can I just give a bit of special love out to Kath? I think you're a very, very strong woman, and I admire your story, Kath. Just recently coming to know more and more of it, and I just wanted to say thank you for allowing me to be a part of that world. So.
Yeah.
Kath, Kath and I have spoken so many times over similarities and stuff. So I will be talking to you, Kath, because I have plans for an event and I really want you to be a part of it. So Tessa, congratulations. You are the
Hey, Tessa! The crowd goes wild.
Awesome. I will post that for you after the event because I'll post all of them off at the same time. Because there is a wad of them.
I look forward to it, Kath.
Me too. I honestly, every time I see your profile pic, Kath, I literally send lots of love your way.
Yeah.
Please don't change it because it is a beautiful, beautiful photo.
You okay?
And Gabe, thank you so much for joining, Mum. And please thank Noah for letting you come on and share part of his story.
We will.
And tell him I really, really appreciate it.
We will. Thank you.
I'll tell him personally on Saturday, but
Yeah. All right. I can hear us over there. It's echoing.
Thank you guys so much for all your support this month. This has been one doozy of a week for the Autism Awareness Month. Tomorrow night, there'll possibly be a live tomorrow morning. It'll just be kind of like a general one and a general Q&A. So if you've got any questions in regards to autism or Kenzie or anything you've heard that you want clarification on, that'll be your time to do it. Tomorrow night, we're doing Rory's coming on, and that's going to be kind of a mix. He's going to talk a little bit about his story, his side of Kenzie, because he's been on Kenzie's life since she was 2. He was part of the original diagnosis, so he's got a story to tell as well. And it'll be a time for you guys to ask him pretty much no holds barred. Whatever you want to ask him, he's got a good sense of humor, and he will give as good as he gets. So feel free to go for it. We'll have him for about 45 minutes to an hour max, and then he'll have to go to bed. So,
Special little shout out to my work wife if you're listening in the background there. Love you. Thanks for coming. If you're still hanging about, listening, lurking. And thank you, everyone. And you're welcome, Stacey, and everyone who said thank you. That's what it's all about. You know, a gift is given, and it's almost like a call to what is it? A call to arms, a call to duty,
Call
or
to
something.
action.
Call to action. Thank you. To not exploit, but share that gift, such that others can be
Knowledge
enriched by.
shared is knowledge gained.
Yeah.
And if we, Max, honey, you're not alone. And I mean, I understand that because for like years and years, I was the only one in our circle in New Zealand that had a child with autism. And I felt so isolated and so alone. And every time I tried to fit into circles, I didn't fit. And so I gave up trying and I stopped reaching out to people. And I joined a lot of online groups that actually supported me a lot. And so I know from firsthand the power of social media, and that helped me a lot. And if I can give just a little bit back of what I got through some of those hard years, then.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I had to show you guys. So Jenny and I were in the mall in Sanctuary Lakes today, looking at Kmart, and we came across a jewelry store, and Jenny saw these and thought of Bridie. So I got these beautiful earrings. Aren't they beautiful?
They're so pretty. They are very pretty.
And I know as well, I was giggling about the butterflies because I was wearing butterflies.
I wanted to ask you, was that you or did someone, your thumbnail for tonight?
That is actually a stock image, but it is beautiful, and it is one that we are hoping to find.
I'm actually going to be contemplating contacting where I can get it from.
Yeah, because we know one place we can get it from, but you're not technically allowed to use it for diamond painting. You can use it for advertising like that, but you can't use it.
I'm going to actually have a talk to them.
Yeah.
I'll be sending an email off because I was shown it by someone.
Me?
No, it wasn't you.
Oh, it wasn't me.
Else. I showed you.
Oh, that's right.
And I really want it, so I'm going to try and get it to have on the site.
Yeah.
Even if I have to pay for it.
Because that is the rainbow infinity symbol is one of the new symbols that are coming out.
It's not Canva. I've actually seen it somewhere else, but I might research it on Canva, and I'm willing to pay for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, what captured me more than anything was the feather.
So
that's all encompassing, if you know what the feathers mean to me and why and everything like that. Yeah, it means a lot more.
If you send us the picture, send Rose the picture, or send it to Stacey. Actually, Stacey will research it, and we'll see if we can find out who the artist is. Yeah,
and if we can get permission to use it, we will. Oh, I'm hiding. All right, guys, I need to take medication because I'm starting to erupt. Not badly, just enough to be annoying.
Hey, you can leave your undies at home. You can leave. I don't care what you forget, but you bring your meds for Saturday night. Yeah. You can go commando. I don't give a but you bring your meds.
I'll be bringing my meds. Don't worry. I don't go anywhere overnight without them. It's just. I mean, it's better. This is like. I had bacon and cheese tonight, and I mean, you guys can't even see it really. It's just a little bit in here. My flares are like I'm classed as what they call temporarily in remission.
That's why we have you, Stacey.
I haven't had anaphylaxis in probably 3 months.
She's already found the artist.
Awesome. There we go. So we will be contacting him and asking him if we can have his permission to use it, and with royalties, of course. So hopefully, fingers crossed. And he's got other paintings that I like as well.
Beautiful. Well, I'll catch up on all the comments on a replay. Not that I want to watch myself. But anyway, I'll watch it somehow. Catch up on all the comments. But thanks everyone for your interaction and your support. And don't forget to throw a really massive, big, fat thumbs up.
Please. So yeah, and don't forget, we'll see you tomorrow. And once again, Gracie, I love you. Thank you so much. All right.
And
Bye.
I look forward to Saturday.
We do. We're looking forward to it.
Yes, we got you, girl. We got you.
Night, guys. We'll see you tomorrow morning.
Good night, everyone. Bye.